Chaos.
Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening. Tonight, we are going to be playing Surprise. I've got a surprise prepared for two of my regular players. We are down a few of our regular players from our Friday night sessions, and rather than not game, which would just be madness, we are going to be playing something a little different tonight. I have told the guys that we are playing a version of Dungeons & Dragons. They just don't know what version we're playing. And that's kind of where we are right now. And I have told Jeff knows who his character is, but we've kept it a surprise from James because we like surprising James. And James knows that he is playing an old, I told him it was an old friend. Without further ado, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to post the link to the Roll20 game that I set up. And for those listening at home, I have any material we've got in Roll20 tonight is all stuff I put together just for these two players. So if you find that there's a wrong button, find that there is a substantive and even shocking amount of material, that is how dedicated Dungeon Master I am. This is also a way of buttering up my players so they'll play the shit that I want to play. Okay, so
we always do.
Yeah, you got the link there, guys? It's in the chat in Google Plus.
Oh yeah, that always mentions me up.
Yeah, because I think it always shows up a little like speech bubble if you don't have the chat open. So if you hop in there and go ahead and join, we will see what we will see.
Google Plus.
Yeah,
the call you're on. Not the Hangouts, the Hangout we're in right now. On the top left, there's a little blue like speech bubble thing. If you click on that, it'll open up the chat.
No. An error has occurred.
Uh-oh.
I don't see a little blue bubble thing.
On the top left of your of the Hangout, you don't see it?
Nope.
You're looking at your face right now? In the Hangout? The actual stream, like the big video thing. Hello, James.
Oh, there it is. Gotcha.
Okay. Well, the other left.
Why does it want to put me in?
I posted it.
I think it worked this time.
If it screws up, let me know. I may have cut and pasted it wrong. It's usually that.
No, it worked this time.
It worked? Okay, great. So problem between keyboard and chair. And this time I remembered not to name the game what we're playing too, so it will remain a surprise. Because I have done that in the past.
It's just a black screen.
Just a black screen. Oh, what is it?
Oh, it says it's loading.
Oh, okay, yeah. I actually am, because I was in a bit of a rush, I didn't do dynamic lighting on everything, so we're doing old school, Roll20 old school, what do you call it? Reveals. Okay, so we're all in Roll20 right now. I'm going to do the old camera shuffle here, and
Mute.
Oh yeah, right. You want to probably mute that.
There we go.
Let's see here. Applications.
You're in stereo.
You don't want to hear me in perpetuity? I'm wounded. Jeff, I'm wounded.
Well.
Tough fucking luck. Okay, so I am in. Let me refresh here. Get my camera going. Okay. Mute myself. There we go. Everybody's camera's working. That's great. So, guys, our scene opens on the rainy Sword Coast. Oh, there's a dog. Oh my God. Oh, there's at least someone walking by. It's the late spring. And the late spring is, of course, always the rainy season in Candlekeep. And the rain and the drenched roads have normally kept away from Candlekeep all but the most dedicated of scholars. Anyone whose research is not of life and death nature, or whose passion for research is grossly outweighs their self-preservation. Otherwise, everyone waits until the summer to come to Candlekeep. Because of that, the keep itself is, apart from the librarians, who of course occupy Candlekeep, it is pretty much empty. There is one person, however, who is a little put out by the rain. And you see this man walk out of one of the side buildings, pulls his big hood up, and makes his way towards the main library in the main keep. The rain is coming down in buckets at this point, so it's 2 steps away from his room when we find that he is completely drenched. At least his robe is. He makes his way in across the courtyard as fast as he can, bonks on the door once or twice, and then throws it open and walks inside, shaking the rain off of him. One of the scholars who's working at a nearby desk kind of gives him a sharp look. The man sort of gestures, his face still concealed by the hooded robe, up in apology, and then he throws his hood back. And who we see is Kelvalos Stormwind. Oh, we lost your audio there, James. I can't hear him. Can you hear him, Jay or Jeff?
Nope. You muted yourself in the call.
Oh, there you go. You got to unmute yourself. So in the...
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's Kelvalos Stormwind. And James, why don't you remind us what Kelvalos looks like?
I don't even know if I had an image of him.
I have an image of him.
Oh, do you?
Which I can show you guys.
Okay.
There we are.
Oh, yeah.
Now, however he looked when you last played him, and for those listening at home, Kelvalos was one of the PCs from our first run at playing D&D 5th edition. James played a Abjurer specialist in the Tyranny of Dragons campaign. Kelvalos was part of the group of heroes who set off to try and thwart the plans of Tiamat. But that campaign kind of, Kelvalos actually kind of disappeared from the campaign about halfway through, and then that campaign kind of died off as we went to play something different. But what we can tell from how Kelvalos looks is that there are certainly quite a few more gray strands in that beard of his and in his hair. He's clearly seen many more miles on his carriage, as it were. You may remember, James, that Kelvalos had a long-standing connection to Candlekeep because his father was one of the chief archivists who was killed by, I believe, an agent of the something to do with Tiamat. Well, that exciting time has passed. The threat, as so many threats in the Forgotten Realms, has passed, and rather than continuing on with adventuring and traveling, you knew that where your responsibilities lay was to assume your father's post. So that's where you've been the last couple of years. And I think that there was some reason why you so quickly jumped off, on the bandwagon and left with that Dragonborn so many years ago. So there's probably still a bit of an adventurous spirit that's kicking around in you. It's just, I think there's only a few moments of quiet respite where that it really reminds you. You're so busy with your tasks, and maybe if you stopped and questioned yourself, you may think that you actually keep yourself that busy so your mind doesn't have time to wander. But anyway, you come in because there's tasks you have to do. There's maybe some cataloging of new material and approve, or at least like the first pass at cataloging of material. Which is a very important task, because if it gets lost in the system, it's never going to be found, right? So you get in, and it's still, you wouldn't tell from outside, but it's probably about midday, and you can't believe it's midday already. There's still so much shit to get done. You make your way back to your office. There's maybe 2 or 3 neonites who kind of stop you and ask some questions of you. You finish answering their questions, direct them to what they should be doing, and you finally make your way back to your office. And I'm kind of picturing, remember the scene from what do you call it, Last Crusade, where Jones gets into his He's hounded by all those students, and he gets into his office and kind of closes the door. Is that we're getting feedback from somebody? Oh, that might have been you, James.
Girls are watching a movie.
Oh, okay, there you go. So you make your way. It's like I said, the scene from Indiana Jones where he kind of closes the door and you see like there's that dagger that you recovered, you know, and there's your traveling robe, and it reminds you of the time, you know, when you traveled up and down the Sword Coast with your former allies, and you kind of do a deep sigh and you look over at your desk and you see there's the pile of stuff you need to go through, and the most conspicuous of those things is a fairly large square wooden box, and it's the reason it sort of catches your eye, apart from the size, is because it's made of this very it's almost like driftwood. It seems like someone made planks out of driftwood. It's got that bleached white look to it. It's got and that really kind of dead, you know, look that normal wood does not. You walk over to it because you know you're gonna have to get to it at some point, and there's no indication of where it comes from, apart from there is a marking or a kind of a not import but like a port marking on it from Kalimshan, from Kalimport, I guess. So you look at this thing, and it's got there's some nails that have sealed this thing on the top, and then it looks like you just take the nails out, take the top off, and then you'll be able to access whatever's inside. So you grab, you know, the crowbar that you have nearby, and you know, pop this thing open. You lift the lid and put it down, and then as soon as you lift it, the four sides kind of like doop, doop, drop away, and some of them are you know, they don't fall flat on the desk because there's piles of parcels and books and shit like that around you, but it pretty much leaves the contents pretty much exposed. And what it is a small kind of like square like potting kind of thing, like a pot. It's made of a terracotta colored clay. It's packed with this dried sand. Like you're looking at it, and you know, like how the sand can dry and then crack, and that's what it is. But in place of a plant, there's this hand that's in there, dried and desiccated. And in the center of the hand is this perfect obsidian sphere. Black. And you're looking at it, and you can see there's the striations you see, like some. It's a perfect cut, but you can see that there's some way the way the light hits it. There's some imperfections in it, in the stone itself, not in the carving. You're kind of looking down at this thing and inspecting it, and I'm assuming you're going to do your normal routine task, which is to cast detect magic on. And this thing, not surprisingly, gives off a fairly strong necromantic and transmutation. What do you call it? It's transmutation or conjuration. I can't remember. Maybe it's unclear, but it's a fairly strong, I think, transmutation and necromantic aura to it. And you're sort of studying this thing, and then you see one of the fingers, as you're inspecting it, kind of moves just a touch. And what it does, it has this creaking, like old leather trying to be worked. And then it kind of moves again, and then it suddenly like drops, it moves its palm like this. The sphere rolls out of the hand, down onto the desk, and it's rolling towards the edge. It's going to fall off. I take it you're going to grab that?
No, I'm using Mage Hand to pick it up.
Okay. Give me a roll a D20. Okay, yep. So it drops, and you quickly cast Mage Hand, and it catches this thing, and it's being held in a aloft by this sort of magical force. What do you do with it?
Oh.
So while you're studying this, you hear that creaking again, and the hand, I'm going to try and get back so I can see this. It does this. It goes up like this, and it turns. It goes like that, and suddenly there's a flash.
Okay. Oh.
And this is where you are. The obsidian orb is drifting in the air before you. You look at it, and I'm assuming that Mage Hand sort of basically like duplicates kind of like a hand type thing. It's not like a telekinetic force. So what you can see is that it's actually like dust now. It's losing its form and falling through your spectral fingers. You also detect that there is a substantial change in magic. You're not quite sure what the hell's happening, but there's something very, very uncertain that's going on. You feel very disoriented. Like imagine spinning around for a minute at first, and how warped and suddenly off your orientation is. That's how you feel.
Okay, so I'm no longer in my office.
No, you are looking around. It basically looks the same. It is a trackless desert in every direction. There's little patches of scrub, and there are massive cloud-free. There's a sweeping cloud-free sky that is full of brilliant stars. I think you know just because you're a fairly educated person that the further you obviously get away from the urban glare, even in the Forgotten Realms, the more of the heavens you can see. And you feel like you could be thousands of miles away from anywhere with how much of the heavens lay before you.
Okay. Does it look like I'm on the same plane?
You would, I think, well, here, let me ask you this. Magic feels different and wrong right now to you, as far as you're concerned.
Okay.
Underneath your feet, there is gravelly stone and sand, and the ambient temperature is really quite warm. Oh no, actually, it would be quite cool at this point. You're surprised, in fact, just how it's probably about maybe 5 degrees right now.
5 degrees.
5 degrees Celsius. So what do you do?
Oh, geez. I guess first off, check my inventory. What do I have?
You have on you you know what would probably help, James? Why don't I send you a character sheet?
That was just James's way of asking for his character sheet.
So if you check your email, James, I just sent you a PDF of the version of Calvalos that just arrived in this place. And let's just don't need to worry about taking a look too closely right now. I'll tell you what because you're gonna have a moment to do that when we switch to Jeff's character. What you have on you is you have your dagger. So I think you keep it with you all the time. You've got that ring of cold resistance that you found when you were adventuring with your allies. You've got your mage's robes on. You've got shoes, and that's really it.
Okay.
So as you're sort of taking stock of things, you realize that the ambient light gets a little bit brighter, but it feels like, like when you've seen chandeliers, magical chandeliers before, when there's multiple light sources sort of twinkling. And you look up, and you can see that there is a flickering sort of circle of light. You think it looks like the stars themselves are sort of coalescing and spinning and coming down. And they get closer and closer, and you can tell as the lights get bigger that the darkness around them gets larger as well. So it looks like there's a hole with little bits of light coming out of it that begins drifting down towards you, and it is slowly spinning in a counterclockwise manner. And you're looking up, trying to make sense of what you're seeing, and then you're suddenly hit with this blinding light. And you kind of flash, and you think you lose some time then. because when you next wake up, you are lying down on a bed. And you open your eyes and you look around. You're in some kind of room. You're lying on a bed. The room looks to be maybe about 30 feet by about 20 feet. And at one end, there is an exit or a portal leading out. But there is a faint red glow in front of it. You can see it's illuminated by the dust that's sort of drifting in the air, as if it's some kind of like magical barrier, perhaps.
Okay.
You sit up?
Yep.
So you sit up, and that's when you hear kind of a from elsewhere in the room. And you look over and you see that there is a bed on the far side of the room. And there's something that stirs there. Something much, much bigger than you. And it smells. It's got that animalistic stink to it. And this thing lurches up to a sitting position, still concealed in the darkness. It barks at you.
All right. Oh, goody.
What do you say, if anything?
Good evening. I don't know who you are or where we are, but my name is Calvalos.
It growls and it leans forward. And what you see illuminated in the light is this.
Oh.
And you cannot help but kind of jump back.
Yeah.
And that's when we cut. And what we see is a modern, basically a wide open laboratory. You can see that there is the NASA symbol on one of the one of the many objects that are being worked on by the crews in here. And we see this guy walk through in a blue jumpsuit. And Jeff, why don't you tell us what this guy looks like?
Let's see. Blonde hair, short crop, sort of a very similar to my haircut right now. Built, but not overly muscular.
Yep.
Clearly works out. He's about 6'1", and he looks all business right now.
Okay. So he is walking like he has a purpose and kind of like, snapping his fingers. He's clearly in a good mood. And he makes his way to the far end of the lab where a woman about maybe 10, 15 years his senior is giving instructions to another. She's in a lab coat. She's quite pretty. And she's giving instructions to another young person or young scientist, and then sort of, or engineer or whatever she is, and directs him to kind of go off. And then she turns around and she sees this gentleman walking towards her, and she gets a smile across her face. Calvin, you're early.
I guess I should give her a name.
Sure.
Samantha. Yes, of course I'm early. It's the big day.
Well, it is the big day, and you should be preparing. What are you doing here?
I'm preparing. I'm here to see you.
Well, you have many other things. There are many pre-flight checks to do, and well, you're going to spoil the surprise, but I suppose it's better that you see this now. I got something for you, for us.
Oh, exciting.
She leads you back to her office, and as you walk in there, she, first she stops and gives you, a I can't remember. Have you guys actually, like, are you guys actually in a relationship at this point, or is it just more of like the?
No, I think it's exactly.
Okay, so then it's not for us. It's for you. And she walks behind the desk, and then as she bends down, you can hear this meow, the sound of this cat, and she brings it up, and she's saying, and she's got this orange with black kind of spots cat, and she says, "Here, this will be what he will be waiting for you when you come back."
Oh, he is adorable.
And
Take the cat from her.
you get him, and you see he's got a little like collar around his neck, and he has a little name tag on him too.
Take a look at what she put on the name tag.
Can you guess what the name tag is?
The name tag says Hobbs.
That's right. So she sees your reaction, obviously, that you're pleased with this, and
Oh, absolutely.
then she she says, "All right, well, just give me Hobbs. He'll be waiting for you afterwards. You just and as you take the cat from her, I think you can't resist but go in and give her a little kiss, and she kind of says, "Look, after get them test the drive, and then we'll see how things go. Hobbs will be waiting for you." She kind of holds them up for you.
All right, I'm on it.
And you start walking away towards the door. And then she says, "Oh, Calvin?" Or I think she calls you Cal. Cal? One more thing.
What is it, Sam?
And you turn around, and then she's sort of standing there with, James, you got back in?
What?
So we're getting a background noise from you again.
Oh.
Sorry. It's off now.
The girl put a stick in her nose. No. And both her boogers.
When you look back, she suddenly has like no expression on her face whatsoever, and then she opens her mouth and just starts like screeching this sound, and then you're suddenly you jerk awake, and you can see that you're strapped down, and there are two of these things that are standing over you.
Oh God!
And your neck is fucking killing you for some reason. Like you're agitated. You're in a darkened area, and you can't quite see what's going on. There's subtle lighting everywhere, and you're not even really like laid down. You're on this kind of straight angle, and then these things behind them, there are drifting these sort of like metal spheres that are sort of humming along. Whoa. And they poke at you at your neck, and it hurts when you hit. And you're kind of like, God, get off me! You have no recollection of what the fuck happened. You have no idea where you are, what's going on. What do you do?
I'll just speak out. Where am I? What's going on?
One of them grabs some kind of device and kind of like dials it, and you feel a little bit of heat on your neck. As you're looking around, this is what you see. It's a cavernous room, and there's weird echoes and noises that are going on, and you can hear these things popping, chirping voices from elsewhere in this thing. And then there's sort of a button's hit, and you're suddenly released, and you kind of collapse down to your knees. You can't believe how weak you are. What do you say?
Where am I? More specifically, what are you?
One of these things walks up to you, and it's wearing like a bit of a uniform. It's got this. These things are about maybe 4.5 feet tall, and it gestures towards you, and it's got this like staff of some kind. It's got a little glowing tip on it. Kind of gestures for you to get up.
I get up, I guess.
Okay, and then it gestures forward.
I'll continue to sort of follow its direction.
Okay. There are two of them, and then there's one of those floating kind of drone things that are going with it. They lead you along hallways that have the same kind of weird, angular, but pieced together kind of futuristic look to them. It's very unsettling. And there's an omnipresent kind of hum going on as well. You pass one or two of these things that seem to be dressed in some kind of advanced armor as well. Like they look like, not like, power armor, but like, combat armor kind of stuff. And you are led along, and these two things are kind of chirping back and forth to each other. And as it's going along, you can hear, you suddenly start picking up, or you think your mind's playing tricks on you at first, but you're picking up, they're saying suddenly like little words of English. Something like, well, in head. The other. And you're sort of like, do you say anything, or are you just going to keep like going in the direction that they lead you?
I'm going to just keep going with them, but I'm going to search my memory. Like, what's the last thing I remember?
And we see sort of a flashback of like, it's you in a, in a advanced kind of space shuttle type thing. It's more futuristic looking, so it's sort of kind of like a gull wing, not gull wing, but like a more spread out feature. It's got these spread out wings and body. It's got this futuristic kind of like, jump drive to it. We hear over the, comm, the same voice of Sam asking if you're ready to test the drive. You are past the lunar limit, so you're free of any kind of gravitic wells. You're ready to try and activate the first, humanity's first, faster than light travel engine. And as the camera kind of drifts along the side, we see you in the cockpit, obviously, through kind of a small little slit, and we see on the side Enterprise, because of course NASA names their first in each thing Enterprise nowadays. And then you're back in that hallway being led along, and you're sort of turning down one corridor, then another corridor, then another, and you're sort of looking around trying to make sense of what is going on. And they lead you to this one kind of like, it's a portal, and there's this like kind of red glow to it, and one of the things kind of croaks to the other. What's the code again? I forget. And the other one says 62582, and he goes over and I think one of those words may be translated weirdly for you because they may have a different numbering system. But he goes over, hits these things on this panel that has inset sort of like lighting in it, and then the red kind of glow against the doors fades, and they gesture for you to go inside.
I guess I'll go in.
You go in, and then there, it goes back up again, and you're in the exactly same kind of room that I described to Calvalos. And you get in, you kind of look over, and you see that there is another human, actually. But he's dressed like a Ren Fair kind of, participant who's at the door and kind of looking over towards you. And behind him, there's this, you think it's a fucking bear at first. But it's humanoid.
Good Lord!
Yeah, and you kind of stick back, and you hear from your somewhere in your room, oh, it's worried. And you kind of look around, and again, there's
going on.
Hey, I'm not sure. Is it friendly or is it foe? I don't know. What do we think? That's all.
Am I in the same room as Calvalos at this point?
No, you're in this opposite. Calvalos is across the hall from you.
Okay. But there's like I can see them.
You can see them, yeah. You can't hear them. The barrier seems to dampen sound completely, but there's a voice coming from somewhere in the darkness in your room. And it's speaking English as well.
Hello? Who's there?
Oh, that's all it speaks. It speaks. You'll have it then. The gift.
The gift of speaking?
Given by the visitors. The gift of comprehension.
What are you on about?
What are you on?
I don't know. It seems to be some strange spacecraft or something.
Space craft.
What would
Perhaps
you call it?
your machine is your gift is incomplete. You speak gibberish, stranger. Are you foe or friend?
Of you?
Of the visitors.
I don't know who the visitors are.
You are a prisoner of them. Know them well, you will.
I'm unintentionally making Yoda suddenly.
If they've locked me up, then I guess at this point I must be their foe.
Then you are a friend to Chipchak. No danger then.
Danger?
You, the mammals, you are danger to us.
What are you, a plant?
No, no, not a plant. But no harm will come. You do me no harm, and no harm I will do to you.
Agreed.
So suddenly there appears in the corner these two like kind of eyes. And you look over and suddenly you realize now this thing has changed the color of its skin. And what you see there is this.
Could be worse. It could be a rattling.
He gestures at his chest and
Says, I'm Chipchak,
I'm Calvin.
Calvin. Then you've seen, you know that one. There is one of your kind across the way with the Mog.
Where? Across the way? I don't know him.
You look nearly identical.
Oh,
you don't. You don't at all.
Are you sure you are not brothers? Or
it's
hatchlings?
definitely not my brother.
No.
My brother's name is Carl.
Carl. And
Carl.
Is
He
your
lives
brother
in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis? Is that
Where
far?
are you from? I believe it is very far.
We walk the great desert. Many places we travel, or traveled. I am Chipchak, a spirit talker. Oh, on a cap.
What spirits do you speak to?
Those past, those present, any who would speak, any who would listen, like Petal.
And you hear kind of like a rustling in one corner of the room, but you can't see anything.
In the room with us, there's rustling?
Yeah, there's some rustling in down near the base of one of the beds.
I'll
You
go
can't see anything
look
there.
down there, I guess.
Come. They have left food for us. Come. You will tell me where you come from, Calvin of Minneapolis. And we will talk.
And we sort of cut to back to Keldalos' room. And Keldalos, of course, one of your proficiencies is to read lips. So you've heard effectively all of this conversation.
Well, hold on. I would imagine I could probably read Calvin's, but not Chirp Chirp's,
Yeah, that's fair enough. You wouldn't hear what he's saying.
because I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to understand his lips.
Yes. Yeah. Because he moves weird, like the, what do you call it? The Geico Gecko. So in the time between when you first met your bunkmate and now you have had a similar procedure performed. So now you and Ookla can speak to each other. And now that you've seen him in the light, this is what Ookla looks like.
A little less intimidating.
He's still plenty fucking scary when he wants to be. He stands about 7 feet tall, and so he towers over you. What you've learned is that Ookla is from a place he calls far to the north, north of the cedar forest. But you've never heard of a place like this. Like you go through the trying to get as much information out of him as you can to try and like pick up any kind of geographical location. But the best you're getting is like you know how like in every fucking fantasy setting there's a Sword Mountains kind of thing.
Okay.
So like there's that kind of like there will be something where you're like, okay, it's the hot plains. There's maybe a hot plains somewhere in Forgotten Realms too, but it doesn't sound like it's the same world. What you've also learned is that your magic works very differently here. You still have many of the same spells prepared, but it works a little differently. And you get the feeling that it is both, it's a little more untamed in the sense that when you release a spell, it will be much more impressive, but it will deplete your arcane reserves a lot faster. What you also have found is that there is some kind of arcane dampener in here. So you have tried to get a spell off and you felt like it was, holy shit, that was my Scorching Rays is way more powerful than it used to be. But
It's harder to do.
Yeah, there's some kind of dampening field that's going on in here. They're preventing you from just, magicking your way out of here. You get the sense that, if something could be done to it, to shut it down, then maybe you would have, you certainly have free access. You're finding that as soon as you get a good night's rest, you get free access to all your spells again. But yeah, so you and Ookla have had a chance to talk. He is a big fucking tough guy. He says he is the second son of a chieftain, and he had a similar experience to you, where like lights in the sky, and suddenly he woke up here. He knows that he thinks that they have been they've been doing something to him. I don't know if you have.
Now I'm looking at this futuristic looking picture. Is our room that we're in kind of look like this too?
Very
like
much so, yeah.
All metal and tech looking?
Yes, very much so. So it's this really, it's totally foreign to you.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I'm trying to think so mechanically speaking, guys, the way this works is for anyone who's not, normally any character, when they want to interact with high-tech shit, you've got a couple different ways of trying to work it out. You can basically try and like wing it, but that almost always ends badly. The chance of, I think the chance of successfully winging it is like 18 or higher on a D20. You get to add your intelligence modifier to that, but even then it's not awesome. And the consequences of a mishap are often quite bad. You can be taught how to do it. You can watch someone do that, or you can do very slow trial and error. So those are the ways that you can kind of learn this stuff.
This is well beyond me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm not sure. What seems to be happening is that whatever they've done, you felt it, like at the base of your skull, there is an implant that is translating language for you, and because it's a neurological kind of thing, to like fill in the necessary understanding, it doesn't like listen to the language and then translate it for you. It provides the necessary mapping for you to understand whatever language is being spoken. You're actually able to read the lips of the visitors now. You've come to understand their language well enough so you can hear what you understand what they're saying.
Do they use their lips? Like, do they?
Oh yeah,
talk?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're those flapping little. I'll show you what they're.
For some reason, I had in my head like they're like telepath guys.
No, they look like it. I mean, they totally look like it. But no, they've got that jaw kind of goes down. It's kind of like a beak, but they, yeah.
I can read beaks now.
You can read beaks now. That's how fucking smart you are. You do have an 18 intelligence, so it doesn't get.
Well,
any
and don't
higher
you come
than
from
that.
a world with different species?
Yes, but I would have probably experience with not reading lips of those creatures.
You know what? I think to your eyes, the visitors, knowing that they've got a kind of green cast, you may think that there's some kind of like maybe Ophidian or maybe some kind of degenerate or advanced lizard man, maybe some kind of really advanced bullywug. Like you run through sort of like the things that you're aware of in the realms, and it doesn't fit into any of those. These things don't fit into any of those categories. So what do you guys want to do then? Do you have a chance to Chipchurp and Ookla become your sort of your buddies, and I can show you. Actually, let me.
I want to find out how long he's been here.
So Chipchurp's actually been here for quite a.
How can they tell the time?
They
Well,
can't.
my best guess.
Yeah, they're going by. Well, Chipchurp, because he speaks to Petal, he speaks to the spirits, and they tell him. He says that he has not heard the voices of any of the other spirits, but Petal goes with him everywhere he goes. Chipchurp is a spirit talker, of course, and Ookla is. He doesn't have any kind of, like you sort of explain what you are, and he explains that like you're I'm trying to think of the way he would sort of explain this. The words that he uses to understand what you do is he calls you a sorcerer king.
Okay.
He asks you what city you rule, or do you serve a king?
Neither. I work in a library.
I'm a librarian.
In the pursuit of knowledge.
He shakes his big furry head, kind of like not sure what library means.
There's no word for it.
Books, stories, knowledge your chieftain would have passed down to you.
You magically trap it. I'm just going to speak in English for him, so we don't keep him in the. But that's how he speaks. Right? That kind of like Chewbacca thing is what Ookla does, where you understand it, and the rest of us don't have any fucking clue.
I am not scruffy looking.
You're not scruffy looking. So, what do you guys do here, guys? So you'll, I'm assuming at some point the humans kind of look at each other, and you're able to understand what he says, right? What Calvin says. Maybe let's talk through like how do you guys think you get to sort of communicate? Because you're going to be, James, communicating in like gestures or things like that.
Okay.
You do realize that you can recognize written words as well. You don't. I'm not sure if you've got anything to write on necessarily, but
Hmm.
What do you guys?
What kind of stuff do we have in the room?
You have your basically your flight suit on, and that's really it.
Okay. So none of my tools, guns, nothing. Just
no. When you talk to Chipchurp as well, too, Chipchurp has a plan, but he feels he's too weak to put it into effect himself. Because Petal can actually sneak outside, and if we can, if we get the doors or the walls down, can you get us off of here? He's asking.
I think maybe I could. I don't know. I'd have to see their controls. I could definitely try.
So you'll notice, Jeff, that one of the things that you have, your class is Terran Cosmonaut, and one of the things you've got is that you're familiar with technology, which means you've got a pretty decent chance of figuring out alien technology, even though you're just a human. You've got an engineer's mind and whatever.
Sorry, guys, I need to take a couple minutes. I got some little ones I got to put to bed.
Sure, yeah. Why don't we, we'll carry on with Calvin's plans. Okay. So, Jeff, what you can do? I'm looking at your class abilities right now. You're familiar with technology,
Yeah.
and you got engineer. So you know what I'll let you do is why don't you give me I gave you access to your character sheet now. I don't have your proficiencies listed in there right now because I was lazy, but just give me a D20 roll, and you're gonna want to roll a 10 or higher. No, hold on. What's your intelligence? +1. You want to roll
15.
yeah, +1. So you want to get a 9 or higher. Because you get +1. Holy shit!
Nice.
All right, so you've fully mastered the how you watch them put people in and out. We sort of have a flashback of you going in and you look over and see them when you heard them say that they're going to enter the code. You watch the order, the way that they put the things in, and
Right, like I have just been thinking about escape this whole time, so I'm closely watching everything they do.
And I think you got a rough idea of how you got here from that operating lab. So, actually, 17 is pretty damn good. Ask me one more question.
Do they seem to have a security patrol?
You did pass that one guard, but you
Yeah.
haven't seen him pass here again.
Okay.
And by I say guard, I mean soldier. He seemed to be.
Yeah, that guy was sort of the spear-looking thing.
Yeah, you had said that you were in the military before, right?
Yes, I did serve in the military.
Yeah. So you can kind of picture that this guy is that the guy that passed. He's got that sort of look to him.
So it seems
weird.
that they have a...
You know what? Hold on, the power's flickering here.
Do you have a store?
No, but I mean, I wonder if because of everyone's got their AC on, for the weekend. I wonder if there was.
It's still Stampede?
It's still Stampede. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be an issue right now. Huh. Well, if it is, because I mean, obviously, if power goes down, I'm going to drop out.
Yeah,
So,
we'll lose the whole call. So
yeah, but it doesn't seem to be a problem anymore. Actually, what's going on? And he's trying to figure out what's going on as well. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn off a couple fans. Maybe it's I got one going in every room right now. Just give me 2 seconds.
right, maybe it's local.
That was weird. Well, it doesn't seem to be a problem. So, all right. So yeah.
So the majority, so I'm getting the sense of a mixed crew here. The one guy seems military, but the other guys maybe seem like scientists or.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm getting the feel of a mixed crew, not a complete military ship here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. This is not.
Am I getting the feel that it's a spacecraft or a facility on a planet?
You're getting a sense it's a craft of some kind from the humming and.
Yeah, exactly. Those kind of signs.
Yeah, and I think that there's no portholes or anything you've passed yet, but.
Oh no, but I mean you can kind of tell. I think when you're on a spacecraft versus on solid ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Anything else you want to know?
At some point, I'll be trying to check my memory to see if I think that my craft could be on this ship, on their ship, as if I was tractor beamed in, so to speak, or if I, crashed or what, just that kind of thing.
Yeah. Why don't you
Just
give
what
me,
I can remember.
me think here. I think it's going to be a save. Would you give me a save versus spells? So you should be able to do that on your character sheet. That stuff I have loaded. I got you open as well.
Character sheet. Save spells. There it is.
Oh, yep, success. So yeah, you start trying to think about it, and you remember now activating the FTL drive. You remember there was a flashing, and then there were some weird strobing colors, and then sudden silence as sort of all the power had been lost to your vehicle. You were drifting through space, and then you saw an episode of the X-Files, that sort of like drifting thing in space, the drifting colors in a circle, and then that bright light that holds you in.
Right.
You remember grabbing, as you had time before you passed out, to sort of grab your the what do you call it, the survival kit or whatever, and hug it into you. So there is somewhere, either if they've kept your vessel, it's in there, or maybe somewhere in this vessel there is a satchel that's got your emergency supplies on it, which includes a pistol.
Right. I mean, that's the kind of thing I was wondering about. Okay, so potentially it is on this vessel somewhere.
Yep.
Okay.
You probably do remember that it being brought onto the, you have flashing memory of you being pulled onto the vessel, still grabbing your sort of survival pack, and then it's sort of dropping out of your hand. So it's somewhere on here. You just don't currently know where. I'm trying to think of it. Yeah. So what do you do? So things you could do.
I think maybe I would what's his name? Chip?
Chip Chirp.
So Chip Chirp says he can get the door open.
He says pedal can.
Or pedal can, sorry, yes. I think I'll start working on a plan with him of attempting that.
Okay. He asks if your brother can help as well. Not Chad.
Right.
Not Carl, or rather not Chad. Carl, but the other one. He gestures to the one across the hall.
Right.
He probably doesn't call you brother. He probably calls you clutch mate.
Right. Is that okay? I can try to communicate with him. So I'll suggest yes. We should take the other two with us.
He says that the mods can be fearsome. He explains
fearsome helpful or fearsome dangerous to us.
They are. I know what's going on. Give me 1 sec here. It's okay, sweetie. It's okay. Come on. You think so? There's a north wind coming in, so it's blowing the blinds in my bedroom. It scared the shit out of Amy.
Oh, that's
what the fuck's going on? So I just turn it so that the wind's going through them rather than. It's okay, sweetie. It's okay. These things suck.
Well,
oh shit! I should really open my window. I want to cool this place down. So yeah, he says that they are fearsome in a as they're fearsome opponents, and they're quite savage. They can, be allies, but they tend to stay to themselves unless they're outcasts, and outcasts are generally quite dangerous. Excellent. Okay.
Right, so he may be dangerous to bring along.
It depends. They're also quite honorable. So.
Okay. Well, and I think we could use the help as well. I'll tell sure. Sure. The more of us there are, the better chance we have, I think, of success.
Chip Chirp would agree with that.
Okay. So then, is there a time of day that I think would be better to attempt this?
It depends on, I suppose, whether you want to face these the visitors immediately, or whether you want to, like try and get out and then get to them.
Yeah, like I think we want to try to get to my weapons before we fight them.
Sure. Okay. So you want to try and So how do you think you would be able to, thinking in a sci-fi kind of context, how do you think you would try and, figure out where those might be? So the rules for using
I mean, if I could get to their control panel, I could try to see if there's anything, like, if I could learn anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as layout of the ship or anything like that. So maybe the first time we sneak out, it would be best if I would sneak out.
Okay.
And then
yeah, that's great. Okay, so that's where your ability to that you're familiar with technology, that's where that really would help with that. So I was just looking at the rules for it, because that would basically give you, if you're successful in that role, you'll be able to figure out, how to use that stuff. Let me see here, I'm just pulling up one other thing as well. Yep, where is it? Okay, got it. Sorry, I was pulling up the rules for brawling in case you get in scrap with anybody, because you've got no weapons presently, but you have a nifty ability because you are an unarmed fighter. Normally what it is let's see here, normally if you're not wearing armor or light armor, you cannot successfully punch or kick someone in metal armor. If it's attempted, then the damage is applied to you instead of the defender. Yeah, but you've got that unarmed fighting proficiency, so you're able to do that, and you can actually do lethal damage, not just non-lethal.
Did we win?
There's a plan in place right now, or in the making. Calvin is able to communicate this stuff to you if you want.
Okay.
Calvin, what do you tell him?
that is the loudest bag of chips ever. Sounded like thunder. So the plan is to try to Chip Chirp can open the door to get us out.
And so Pedal can.
Or Pedal can. Okay, Pedal, his spirit guide can.
Spirit guide?
So Calvin is going to sneak out and see if he can get to a control panel, if he can learn where his ship is. Because if he can get to his ship, he has a weapon on board that could help them to escape.
You did see that the visitors had weapons on them as well.
Oh, so I could try and overpower one of them.
Why don't you give me another technology roll? So it's or they call them throws in this. So it's give me a proficiency. Oh yeah, awesome. Okay, so yeah, this for sure it's guns. It's handguns that they've got on them, some kind of gun. You would guess some kind of ray gun or something, and you're pretty confident you know how to work it.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess we could just. Well, then maybe that would change the plan. So maybe with Ookla's help, I could just subdue one of them and take their ray gun.
Okay.
Or maybe Cavalos has some kind of a. Have you communicated to us that you have some kind of magic?
Yep.
He would have to gesture to you to do that. So how do you think you would do that? Oh, sorry, I missed that shit. I was updating a thing. Damn it. So apparently the
Yoga Flame.
The Ren Fair guy wants to have a high five.
I'm not sure that I would pick up on that as far as like.
Yeah, and
I could do the gestures, like the magical gestures, without actually doing the verbal or actually completing it. So you could see it's like, I do magic.
Okay. Right.
And he's probably looking at us like, that is some funky ass sign language.
Yeah. Ookla tries to be helpful and says, tell him you're a sorcerer king.
I'm neither a sorcerer nor a king.
Your kind obey the sorcerer kings. Is he not your servant?
Oh, I might like this world or this ship. Because he said we're on a ship. So I'm thinking this is a funky ass ship.
The visitors, well, both Tipturk and Ookla know a little bit about the visitors. Visitors, they know, are obviously not from their world, and they both refer to their world as Kanahu. And the visitors, they take people, they do terrible things to them, and they've been doing it for very, very long time because there's ancient, what do they call magic items that were left by the visitors from centuries before. No one knows really what they want.
What do the visitors want?
Don't know, but they're not doing terrible things to me.
Apart from the minor surgery you've already received. So what's the plan, guys? Let me maybe show you what your room. Let's get some tokens set up in here and make sure that you're displaying correctly. Hold on here. There you go. I'll put you in the rooms. There we go. Put you in that one, you in that one, and then you put Chip Chirp. Now, one thing you guys may have noticed is that you guys now have access to Chip Chirp and Ookla's character sheets. The reason for that is because you, in this game, you guys are assumed to have henchmen because it's just too dangerous to do shit on your own generally. So you will want to hire people to help out with, taking arrows, taking bites from dragons and that kind of stuff. So to do that, what you do is you hire henchmen.
Is there more to my character sheet outside of a picture?
If you look through, there's 6 pages to your character sheet, including your full spellbook.
Oh, okay. Okay, but it's not
so
an extra.
On Rule 20, no, I didn't have time to enter that in, but the PDF has, I think it's 7 pages long in total.
Yeah.
6 pages that is, and it's I've cut and pasted the full rules for all your spells as well too. So you've got the complete descriptions for them, so you can make a call. I have never run this game before, by the by, so that is where. Let's see. I'm just opening up what you guys can see here.
I got no skills. I'm skillless.
What you would consider skills in other games, proficiencies generally take the role here. You'll see proficiencies. Proficiencies are sort of like a halfway point between like feats and skill.
Okay.
So let me move you over to prison cells here. There you go, guys. And that's what you can see right now. Oop, wrong thing. Sorry, I fucked up something here. There we go. Love it. I just figured out how to hide and reveal areas. So cool. Okay. So that's what you guys can see right now. And there are no, I don't have the, what do you call it?
I can't move
line of sight.
sight.
Yeah, well, I don't have the line of sight thing set up, so I'm not sure if you can move outside the area you can see right now, but...
I can't click or access Kelvalos at all. I can only access Uluk.
Oh, you know why? It's because I think I created your... Hold on. No, you should be able to move Kelvalos.
I'm clicking on them, and I'm not getting the thing that I get where you click on the portrait and you get the...
I can click on everybody but Cavallos.
Oh, you know what? Maybe... Hold on, what did I do here? Edit. Oh, because I'm a portrait. Yeah, there you go. Try it now.
Booyah.
Okay. So there is sizes are not really a thing in this. Like if it makes sense in the context of the story, like where you're being pinned by a purple worm or like a troll or something like that, there can be a modifier to certain actions, but that doesn't modify your attack rolls or any shit like that. Doesn't we don't track space or any stuff like that. We're just going to do theater of the mind. I'm using the map so you can situate where you are and stuff like that and plan, but you don't need to worry about that shit.
There's a purple worm on the ship? That's not good.
I love purple worms. Give me plenty of purple worms. Okay. So, let me... Boom. Oh, ho, 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 ho.
So the plan is to wait for the guard to come by and jump him.
Okay.
Oh, so you're assuming they're going to open the door?
What?
Well, if they're going to come by, how the doors are locked or they're closed?
Well, that's what I said. Chip Chirp's spirit friend can open the door.
Okay.
And what I didn't have time to fill it out too. Chip Chirp, basically you can think of him, Jeff, as kind of like a cross between a cleric or a shaman and a rogue. He's got he can be really sneaky. He can be quite, he's really good at climbing and shit like that. But he can also cast divine spells, and he can, he has a spirit ally, kind of like a familiar that can go invisible or not. Chip Chirp also, one cool thing about the divine casters is James's character has what's called a spell repertoire, and that's like he has a certain amount of spell slots he can cast per day. His spell repertoire tells him what spells those are. All the ones in your spell book there, James, those are what's in your repertoire right now.
Okay.
If you still had your spell book, you can conceivably have more spells in there that you could swap in and out. But this is where you are right now. So you got that as your repertoire. Divine casters do not have to do that. They can just look at the divine list and whatever they want to cast, they can cast. If they need to cure wounds, boom, they can crank that out. If they need a neutralize poison, they can crank that out. So that is where we are. And you're also noticing, James, that spell casting takes a lot longer. And what I mean by that is that when it comes to your turn, if you're intending to cast a spell, you tell me before we roll initiative. And then we roll initiative, and then you decide and then we go through the actions of what order everyone is in. But because you are, because spellcasting takes that kind of like wind up time to sort of get shit going, you have to say that that's what you're doing. And not just you, anyone casting spells has to do that. We'll see that when we get to scrap. And speaking of scraps, we're about to get into one. So let's just, we can do it in a flashback way. I'll just have hey, look who showed up, guys. 2 visitor guards. We're nearly there. And James, this is you lip reading as you see these guys go by. We're nearly home. Thank God. Full supplies? Oh, yes. We're going to do plenty of things. I can't wait to see that one. And he gestures at Ookla, arms on that one. He gestures at Calvalos. The other one's like,
Okay.
So, what was the plan?
Calvin signals to Chirp Chirp right as they're outside the door for
And
his
what you see
friend to open it.
is this thing. It's sort of like what suddenly appears is this, like maybe 1.5 foot tall thing that looks like it's made out of rustling green leaves, like small leaves caught in a breeze, and it sort of jumps up and like boop, 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 boop. And then which one goes open first, guys?
The door to our cell will go.
Your cell. It's down, and
I'm
now
casting a spell.
Well, no, it does. He can't activate. I don't think he can deactivate both of them. I hadn't made my mind up. Actually, I hadn't said that one way or the other. So why don't I do this? I'm going to roll a d6. If I roll a 4 or higher, he's able to deactivate both of them at the same time. I rolled a 2, which means he'll have to take him. He'll have to spend his turn doing that. So you're not going to be able to cast a spell, James. At least it won't go off because you know there's some kind of dampener going on in here.
Okay.
But what we do is first I roll for surprise. You guys are not going to be. You guys are ready. So I'm not worried about that. Let's see if they get. They are not surprised actually, so they do get to act this round. I guess they're suspicious of you fuckers. Now let's roll initiative. So first off, Chip Chirp can cast a spell if he wants, but they generally don't have really. Hold on, I should say it. I actually can't remember what spells the what do you call it? The Spirit Talker has.
Anything distracting would be good. Blindness or
Yeah.
I
Here.
don't know what he has.
Okay, so the Spirit Talker has. Oh, he's got Cause Fear. He's got Hold Person, Obscuring Mist, or Obscuring Cloud.
Whole person might be good.
Command Word. Yeah, let me. Pull up the spell. Okay, so Hold Person. This spell will render any living non-undead creature paralyzed. You get a saving throw. So you gotta have 4 or less hit dice. And they can save versus paralysis to try and negate it. Okay, so he will start casting that spell.
Yeah.
And then, okay, and
So we pre-planned. He's trying to do that to the one on the left, and I'm going to try and grab the one on the. Or no, sorry. He's doing that to the one on the right. So who would have been behind the other one?
yeah. So what?
So that if it works, then that kind of blocks the hallway and gives me a chance to get the other one before he can.
Click on your token, and then go to your character sheet and click on initiative, and it'll roll initiative for you and put it in the tracker. And do you guys want to do that for your henchmen, or do you want me to do that for you?
Well, working on it.
Okay. Calvin got a 4. Nice.
How do you roll initiative?
On your character sheet, it's just down. There's a little like D20 button.
Oh.
Hey, here we go. I wasn't getting this before.
Nice.
Okay.
There we go.
Ooh,
Good roll, Chip.
nice. Did you find it there, James?
I did. I thought I rolled it.
No, you got to click on your token first. There we go. And then click on Ookla's token and roll initiative for him. Now, just like in other versions of D&D, guys, you can move and you can attack, or you can take or you can cast a spell. If you're casting a spell, I don't think you can move. I think you have to stay stationary when you're casting a spell because it takes all of your kind of concentration. If I get that wrong, I'll look that up between now and the next session, or if we play again. Let's see.
You never told us the name of this game, did you?
No, I haven't. I'll talk to you about it at the end.
Oh.
Okay, sending. Okay, so awesome, Calvalos. Oh shit, you're not able to go. I think that pedal's going to go on. Okay, do you want to hold an action then?
Sure.
You did tell me you were casting a spell, so maybe you were waiting for that to go down before you get your spell off. So yeah, so you'll wait. I'll put you down till after Chip Chirp. There we go. So Chip Chirp is up first, and he casts, speaks some words, and then there's this like glittery kind of dust that appears from his tiny little hands, and it goes out and hits one of the visitors. Visitor gets a save. They save as first level fighter. Oh, he's gonna be fucked. Yep, he is fucked. You can see his muscles all kind of like tighten up and get rigid. Holy shit! Hold person lasts for 9 turns, which means it's 90 minutes. He's stuck in that position for an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah. So and he's stuck. Pedal goes over and hits that, and then the power goes down. And Calvalos, what are you casting?
I was going to cast. Oh, where'd it go? Daze.
Daze, nice. Okay. So Daze. Oh, it's just a cantrip.
Yep.
So cantrips, you are limited to 5 of them per day.
Yep.
Okay. So, but that's yeah, great. Okay. So mesmerizes one humanoid. Unless it seeds a save versus spells. Their save versus spells is garbage. Yep. So the both of them are basically frozen in place. They can't take actions even to defend themselves. I'm going to say no dex bonus to. Actually, dex doesn't really matter, but I'll take out their. I'll reduce their armor class by a little bit. All right. So that means, well, let's hear Sodalis's turn. Next up is Ookla. What's Ookla going to do?
Ookla is charging them. And the one that Calvalos dazed, he's gonna like rip him limb from limb.
Okay, here's one of Ookla's cool abilities. Ookla is a Mog Brute, which means he has an ability called. Oh, fuck, I forgot to include it. He's got a +1 initiative, so actually his initiative is 1 higher. And then he's got +1 as a surprise, so that's pretty fucking cool too. He can enter what's called Fighting Fury, which makes him immune to fear. It gives him +2 damage. But he cannot retreat. He has to fight until all the enemies are down.
Okay.
There's no other penalty for him. It's just that he can't retreat. Does he want to enter into a Fighting Fury?
Yes.
Okay. So he has 2 attacks with his claws. So he goes racing forward. Why don't you go ahead and make those attacks for me, please? So here's what you do. Actually, click on the target that you want to hit, James. Oh, you did it! Nice job. 8. Holy fuck. Okay, so which one did you hit?
I hit that one.
Okay, yeah, he is fucking. He's held in place, so he sort of sees him come forward. One of his vicious claws just eviscerates this thing, and it falls down dead. Let's see how your next attack goes. Click on the other one. Oh my god. And that's actually a +2 because he's already just it's a 10. Oh my god. So both of these things are just he runs forward and tears these things up. You're, I think, a little shocked. Well, all of you guys are shocked at this just brutal sudden violence. But he turns and he says, "Enemies."
I did good.
He's happy to have helped the Sorcerer King. Now, in amongst the gore that you find there, you do recover so 2 of those pistols, Jeff.
I'll take one of the pistols and I'll see if anyone else. Does anyone know how to operate this?
Okay, let me just get to that sheet again. So I've got print copies of these showing up of this particular book on Monday, and then I was hoping they went through customs last night, and the rest of the core books for this were supposed to be here today. So I spent a good chunk of today like refreshing on UPS over and over again to see if the books were going to show up. But they didn't. So here, understanding technology. I'm having to flip my way through the PDFs right now. Okay, so you figured out how to do it already. So it'll take you 10 minutes, it'll take you one turn to show them how to use this. It's a fairly simple thing. It's a weapon, right? So if there's one of the guys that you want to explain how to use these pistols, you can go ahead and do that. Do you want to take that time, or are you worried about...
No, yeah, I don't think I will, actually. 10 minutes seems like a while to waste here. I think time is of the essence.
Here's an interesting thing. It's interesting you mentioned that. In this game, time is really of the essence. Like, it's very... tracking... Like, rounds are actually 10 seconds long, not 6 like in other versions of D&D we play. Turns are 1 minute long, so there's 6 rounds per turn. And then I basically track that shit as you're making your way through here. And then what happens is, depending on the environment, I will roll for random encounters ever so often. So there might be a patrol, you know. So it's not dictated that something will come, but if you spend X amount of turns, which could be 1, which could be 4, I roll, and then if I roll a certain result, a random, you know, a random encounter happens. Maybe, you know, one of those drones, maybe some more visitor, like normal ones that you fought here, or maybe something worse, like a soldier.
Right.
Is Chirp Chirp like a melee guy, or is he a ranged guy?
Chirp Chirp is not... He's actually fairly decent in melee, and mechanically, he has the backstab ability that rogues do, where he gets he can get behind... It's literally, in this version of the game, it's literally a backstab. He can get behind the creature, he gets +4 to hit, and does 2 times damage.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cal, do you want to show me how to use this thing? So I'm not depleting all my magic. I've only got so much.
If he asks him to, I will take the time to show him how to use the gun.
Okay.
And get Ookla and Chip Chirp to clean up the hallway and put the bodies into one of the 2 cells.
Okay. So they dump the bodies into the cell. I'll do that. Boom. And let me show you what the hallway looks like, guys. And then I will tell you what these plasma pistols do. Let me do this here, so we can see now. You can go ahead and move yourself into the hallway if you like. And although I guess you can see already, right? It's not like a line of sight.
Yeah.
Okay, so the plasma pistols, these things, guys, they've got you know, they look like ray guns. They look like, you know, sort of a cross between, imagine like a modern version, like a modern video game version of like a 50s ray gun. That's kind of what these things, I'm picturing them, look like. It has a range of 210 feet, which is fucking massive. Each of these squares is 10 feet. It deals 2d4 points of damage, and it looks like there is some kind of energy crystal that's placed into a groove in the rear grip that you can tell, Cal, because I mean you're military trained. You want to keep your eye on your rounds. You can fire it 20 times before it's depleted.
Okay.
These guys do not have any extra crystals on them.
Sorry, these guys don't what?
They don't carry any extra crystals on them. So right now you've got 20 shots. If you guys want to add them to your character sheets, all you have to do is go to your range weapons and just click on add. Actually, you're way better at range than you are in melee there, Jim. So.
Wow, and that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay, add. You said 2d.
Yeah, we'll call it a plasma pistol. No modifier to the attack throw. Actually, Jeff, you do get a +1 because of your class ability. You've got +1 with all technological pistols, rifles, or launchers.
Okay.
And then it does 2d4 damage, and no other modifiers. Yeah, and that's it. It's under the notes, put down 210-foot range. And one awesome thing with that is you'll notice on your pistol, most things like bows or arrows or shit like that, they get progressively harder to hit at range. These plasma pistols do not.
Nice.
You can
So-
torch them at whatever range you want.
Kevin.
Okay.
Oh, I guess it's a basic range attack is what it is.
It's basically what you do is just click on it. It will. The way that this game works is you have what's called an attack throw. They do sort of a weird, like middle ground between THAC0 from like earlier versions of D&D and the increasing bonus that you get from like third edition onwards. What you do is to figure out what number you need to roll. You look at your attack roll, and then you add the armor of the target that you're trying to get. And that's the number you need to roll. And then you also get to add any modifiers, like if it's a magical weapon, or if you've got guidance, or if you've got a dex modifier or a stat modifier.
I've got a dex modifier.
Yeah, so that'll be automatically counted. Like, go ahead, you can go ahead and let's try and shoot Cal.
How about I shoot one of the bodies?
Sure. I'm not actually going to make you shoot him, but
am I doing a basic range attack, or am I rolling just
No.
a plasma pistol?
well, you've added in that new attack, right?
Yeah.
So just click on the dice that's next to that. It should roll it for you. So you swing a plasma pistol to attack. Now hold on, let me make sure you add that under. It said swing. Oh, you know what, James? You added that as a melee weapon, not a ranged weapon. That's why it says swing.
I clicked on. Oh, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, I clicked on above. Nope, never mind.
I'll scope you this for you here. Pistol, attack roll, no modifier. Oops, it's 2d4. No, and 40-foot range.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah. I'll just get rid of that other one for you.
There we go.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so you got this thing, and you're fairly confident of how to use it. And then now I get to do one of the things that dungeon masters have loved to do for years and years and years, which is to roll dice mysteriously. So, what are you guys going to do?
One quick minute.
Sure. So, what are you making of this, Cal? This is a weird.
This is crazy. He's
yeah.
I think he's in like survival mode. He is like, I will process this when I have some downtime.
Because the pressure I'm not getting on, so there's a lot of water.
Like you said, like how Ookla like kind of looks like a bear to him. It looked like a bear ripping those things apart.
Oh, totally. Yeah, he's
Like I've never seen something anywhere near that kind of violence up close. Like I was in the military, but I was in the Air Force. Like I flew a fighter jet. Like I've never even seen someone shot up close.
Because it doesn't reach everywhere.
And so that was crazy violent for him. It was quite shocking.
You had mentioned possibly doing something else as well. You know, some mute James.
I can actually do the whole backyard with that one thing.
Mute. There we go. So, I'll just tell him he needs to unmute himself when he gets back. You had mentioned you were going to try possibly something else as well.
Yeah, see if I could locate my ship.
Sure. So let's see if you can get a blueprint. Why don't you go to terminal, and you've got sorry, you said Ookla. So Ookla and Chip Chirp got the bodies, what remains of them, into that cell.
Yeah, they did that while I was teaching Calvalos how to shoot the gun.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm assuming there's got to be like terminals all over the place.
Yeah, there is. Probably maybe at the other end of the hall here.
Yeah, okay.
Or, you know what? No. I think there probably is like here, closer to the edge. Sorry, James, you're going to need to unmute yourself on the Google Plus call. I just had to mute you. So why don't you give me another proficiency? Oh, if you're going all the way to the other end of the hall.
Oh, so I just can't tell when I'm at the end of the hall.
Oh, there you go.
I'm trying to stop. Now that I look on the
sorry,
call,
you
I can
can't.
see.
Let me
I can't tell that I'm at the end of the T.
Sure. Let me reveal a little more here so you can see. There we go. Does that help?
Yeah, there we go. I was trying to stop where you were saying, but
Sure. So this is pretty fucking cool. You know, I really like the this way of sort of revealing shit. It's not too bad. It's not the
yeah,
same
I
as-
actually like this better than line of sight because then you don't have to remember. It's spatially as a person. If I'm in a house or something and I've been through a room, my brain remembers it differently than when I look at it on a map playing
Yeah.
a game.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when you kind of do this, it feels more realistic to how
Yeah.
I would remember somewhere I've been.
Well, and I think it gives you guys, like if we were doing a larger dungeon kind of thing, it would give you a better opportunity to, you know, if you were reviewing the map, like, you know, back at the tavern or whatever, this would be something you could open up and look at it and be like, okay, we did here or didn't do here or whatever.
Right. Like
No.
we didn't go to the other end of the hall, so we don't really know what's down there. We're assuming
Yeah.
maybe another cell or something, but we don't know.
Sorry?
Switch to that. Same time.
Yeah.
So why don't you give me another another proficiency check to see, throw is what it's called, proficiency throw, and see if you can figure out how this terminal works. So again, it'll be a 9 or higher.
On
That's
money.
Oh,
Oh my god!
oh, oh man.
If I remember reading the power correctly, it says specifically it only fails on a 1.
Yeah, it only creates a mishap on a 1, I think.
Yeah, or whatever it said, yeah.
Oh, okay, that is fucking awesome. So let me go to the mishap table. Where is it?
Yeah, familiar with technology. With mishaps only on 1. That was literally the only possible for mishap.
Okay.
So you set off the alarms. Thanks.
Well, we don't know what. Kev's going to look up the mishaps chart.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually roll on it.
I may have set Ookla on fire. I don't know. Or maybe I turned on the intercom system. Or...
Oh. Okay, no, I love this. So you hit this thing and it activates, and you see this kind of like this weird, you know, language shows up, and then it quickly sort of translates. You know what? I think the written language it doesn't. There's probably security protocol in it, so you can't understand the written, but you'll understand the verbal. Wait, that makes no sense because then you wouldn't have been able to do the thing. So yeah, you can see the verbal. It says, you know, you go to like what you think is going to be the sub menu for this. You hit it, and it says launch torpedo, and you're like, no, no, and you hit like a couple different things, and then all you know is there's this massive explosion from somewhere in the craft, and the whole thing kind of like rocks to the side. I need you guys to give me a, let's see here. Give me a save versus blast and breath. And you get to add your dex modifier to it as well. Ooh. So Calvalos fails. And Calvin survives. It does. Mok passes. For Ookla, rather. And then how about Tip Chirp?
Yeah, I'm just finding it on his right there.
Calvalos. Oh, Calvalos, you take 1 point of damage as you're knocked on the head. And let me, I'll just maybe act. Oh, wrong thing. I'll grab your token. Let me set it to your hit points. I think we can do that. Yeah, here we go. Boom, there we go. So we gotta go ahead and add 1 damage to your hit points. And I think I said everyone's going this way. Okay, nice one. Yeah, pretty cool. Chip Chirp. Oh, wait, that was Cal again.
Well, I know I rolled it on Chip Chirp's thing, but it said it was me. I don't know why.
Oh, because it's you. Okay. Oh, you know, I didn't give Chip Chirp a name on his character sheet. Maybe
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
It says,
add his name at the top there, maybe, and then that way we'll know it. Okay, so he unfortunately takes some damage as well. Roll damage.
Should we roll that just to see if that worked?
Sure.
Oh yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Great. Okay.
So he took 1 damage as well.
Okay. Well, no, not 1. I got to roll. the.
Oh, that was the wall. Okay.
He takes 4 damage. He's a lot smaller, so
Oh.
it makes sense that he's sort of tossed around. Ah! Spirits preserved! Spirits preserved! Bonk, bonk. So there's a lot of red kind of sirens going off in here. Would you, holy crap, give me another technology check. Let's see if you can figure out what's going on.
Okay. All right.
Big fat one.
Because I don't think it's actually sirens. It'll be a different sort of like.
Oh,
So, ooh, 4. No. So
he
you
does
got-
not know what's going on.
You're just like, I think it worked, guys. And you can go back in. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make another random. Let's see here. Okay. What you see is there are. You can hear. There we go. You can hear the sound of feet coming down from like down this direction here.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'll peek around the corner with my blaster. Out. Ready to
Awesome.
fire.
Awesome. Let me. Oh, I don't have a robot one. Dang it! Oh, I don't have a robot one. Let me reveal what you see down there. So you peek around the corner, and this is what you see. So there, that's where they are. Let's roll for surprise and see if either of you guys get to act here. I'm rolling for them. They are not. Yeah, they are not surprised. I might be fucking this up. I think that you got to roll for surprise as well. So give me a 1d6 roll, please.
Roll a d6. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, let me.
Not your night for dice, Jeff.
No.
It's really like they are not. Let me just check.
Your microphone picks everything up super loud. By the way, James.
I'm trying to fix that.
It sounds like you're like crunching those chips into the microphone.
Crunch, 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 crunch.
Yeah, it's very crunchy. I'm imagining Calvalos is chewing on the bones of the visitors.
What do you do?
I think that's how he powers up his magic.
Don't worry, I'm not a cannibal.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
Well, no, they're not humans. So.
So the oh, sorry, I'm reading this chart wrong here. Yeah, you're ready. So that's fine. High is better. I think high is always better for any of the dice rolls.
Okay.
In this game. So sorry about that. I was trying to process it. So yes, they are surprised. You are not. So you're able to act. They cannot, and you've got +2 to attack in this round.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So click on yourself. Click on initiative, guys, and your respective movements. I believe because none of you guys are encumbered, you can move. I think it's like 120 feet. So if you want to move and attack, it's half of that. So 60 feet. So 6 squares. Let me double check that. Yeah, you guys can all move 100 and combat movement is 40 feet per round. So you can move up to 40 feet. So 4 squares.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone's awesome. Everyone's rolled already. Let me roll for the visitors. And I should even I have left them open for that. Boom. Visitors. Oh, a 2. So they're not acting this round anyway. And Ookla, did you change it to give +1 to his initiative there, James?
I did not.
Okay, so that's fine. He just goes more first right now. Ookla's ready to jump in. So, what does he want to do?
He's running out down the hallway this direction.
Okay, it's a. Oh, let me reveal what's down there. You know what, James? I'm going to assume that you guys snooped down here beforehand, so you don't need to. I'm not going to trap you just because you didn't specifically say it. There were more cells down here.
Okay.
So you can take a different action if you like.
Okay, then he runs down this way.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So yeah, he goes racing down, and you can hear the charging of Mog from behind you. You can move through each other's squares too. You don't need to worry about that shit. So, all right. Next up is Cal. What are you doing?
Like I said, he's going to peek around the corner with his blaster out and fire on the approaching.
Nice. Go ahead and make your tackle.
Hey, where are you?
Just click on whatever one you want to shoot, and then
and shoot him.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Wait, is it do 1d4 or 2d4?
It does 2d4.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I think it doesn't show you the totals.
No, I mean I rolled a 1 damage. That shouldn't be possible in 2d4. So I just typed it in wrong.
Oh,
It's showing 1d4.
You know, I've been looking at the wrong fucking things here. Hold on.
Yeah. I'll just roll another d4. It did 4
There we go.
damage.
Okay, so 4 damage is actually enough. So yeah, you Zorch. And I did this official, guys. I actually rolled up all the hit dice for these things beforehand.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So I think I used that first guy as my initiative tracker. So I'm just going to kill one from behind, or I'll kill one from behind and move him back. So you turn around the corner. Okay. Want to know another cool fucking rule? When you or Ookla kill someone, you get to do what's called a cleave, which means you can move 5 feet and then you can make another attack. And if you kill that one, you get to do it again.
Oh,
And you can
wow.
do that a number of times equal to your level.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do that then.
Okay. Make sure you're tracking your shots as well, too, because remember, you only got 20 with this.
Right, so I take a 5-foot step and fire again.
I put my shots in the blue circle on our character sheets.
Oh, sweet. Okay, great.
Oh, 0?
What?
How
Oh,
did
you
I
have
roll
one.
0? Amazing.
Oh, because of their armor. Yeah, because the way it works, what it's doing is it's subtracting their armor from your roll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's unfortunately wild. So you step out, you're a little too eager, and you misjudge this thing. It's not as heavy as a pistol is, so it fires wild over their head and blows out some of the wall. Okay, so Kelly, you're done. Calvalos, what are you doing? You have full access to your magic again, and you got your pistol.
And you say I can move 4 squares?
Yeah, you didn't tell me you were going to cast a spell before you rolled initiative, so I guess.
Nope, I wasn't planning on it.
Okay, perfect.
And I don't think I can shoot from here.
I don't think so, no.
No, so that's it. I moved my 4.
Okay, and then Chip Chirp.
He's just catching up to the action.
Okay.
He was sort of got knocked by that thing. So 1, 2.
And I'll go with the visitors. So the visitors have their pistols out. And they see you come out, and they both kind of look up and are going to try and shoot you. 1 hit dice, which means their attack is not great. What's your armor? Your armor is currently a 4, I think. So it's your armor plus your dex modifier. So I need a 13 to hit you. Miss, and 1 hits. Okay. One thing, you take 6 points of damage as this thing zorches you in the side. But there's one thing I wanted to mention, guys. You may be noticing that you do a fair amount of damage, and you really don't have that many hit points. So you may think, well, Kev, our heroes are really not long for this world. Well, I'm happy to tell you guys that you're actually
Right.
heroes. So, I mean, that may very well be, because this is a very punishing system. I shouldn't say it's not a punishing system. It's just that it is not as Flintstones boxing-ish as what, like, you know, Pathfinder or some other games are. There's not a lot of like trading back and forth in blows. That if you get to that kind of approach, things are going to go badly for you. But you guys have a number of fate points, and your fate points are kind of like your get out of free card here. So what you're going to start with, guys, is 4 plus your wisdom modifier. Your henchmen do not have that. Only heroes have it.
Okay.
And I'll go through what you can do with them just very quickly. You're gonna. A lot of this will sound very familiar. You can spend a fate point after making an attack roll, proficiency throw, or saving roll to re-roll the result. So no surprise. However, you can never re-roll a natural 1. You're stuck with those. That's the hand of the gods telling you this is what's happening. You can spend a fate point after making a damage roll to re-roll damage. Additional fate points can be spent after also to keep re-rolling. You may spend a fate point to cleave after a successful attack roll, even if you're not otherwise eligible to do one. Like you've run out of your cleaves or your character class doesn't allow you to cleave. You may spend a fate point to temporarily gain 1 rank in any proficiency available to your class, or temporarily gain a thief ability. That's pretty fucking cool. So if you need to sneak past somewhere and you don't have that shit and you're terrible at things, you can do that. Or if you need to pick a lock, or if you need to gain, say, like one of the weapon focus proficiencies, you know, or something like that. If, let's see here, a character with at least 1 hit point may spend a fate point to recover hit points equal to his base healing rate, which for you guys is going to be between about 1d6 or 2d6, depending on what your total hit points are. And a character with 0 or fewer hit points may spend a fate point to immediately recover to 1 hit point. So that's pretty fucking cool too.
Oh,
Sorry, how many do we have?
You have 4 plus your wisdom modifier. Calvalos has a +1 to his wisdom, as does Calvin. So both of you guys have 5 fate points.
Oh, Mog doesn't get any?
No, they're henchmen.
Okay.
Ookla and Chip Chirp are henchmen. So, so the visitors have all fired. Everyone's gone. Let's roll initiative, guys. Let me clear this slate here. Boom. Anybody casting spells?
No.
Nope. Then let us roll some initiatives. As James likes putting it, or Steve likes putting initiative schnizzle. Oop, wrong thing. I closed when I should have opened. Dope. All right, guys. Once again, the visitors are sucking ass. Ooh, Ookla and Calvin. Very good, guys. My goodness. Okay. So, I think we'll say heroes go before henchmen. So,
Heroes
Cal?
before zeros.
Yeah. Well, they're not zeros. So, in the game, naturally, what happens, guys, is if your character dies, there are ways you can invest XP. Like you can save up XP and then create a new character and just play this new character with some, you know, whatever XP you've banked, or you take over a henchman and then you create a new henchman to replace, or hire a new henchman to replace someone that has become a PC now.
oh, that's cool.
I'm warning you now, Kevin. Calvalos somehow, through some sort of mishap, falls into Pathfinder, and he will be a backup.
Okay, I will keep that in mind. Chip. Oh, wait, sorry, Cal, you're up first. Let me get the top there.
And he shot.
You're shooting. Okay.
He hit, I believe.
Blaze away.
Dealing 5 damage.
5 points of damage. Let's see. Is that another one? It is. Another one of these guys goes down. Now let me get more of these guys. Do that. As I did roll how many were encountered, and there was more. All right, so yeah, you can keep on going forward. 1 is down. Next, you want to cleave?
Bam.
Yes. Dang. Shoot. Oh, but remember, you got your fate point. Okay, getting back fate points. Bet you're wondering how that happens. Recovering fate points is through certain ways. You can recover through spending, through solace, or through advancement. Upon reaching a new level, you get all your expended fate points back. If you spend time taking solace in what's called an illuminated pinnacle of good. So like if your character's a lawful character and you spend time in like, you know, Elrond's, you know, house or whatever, it's a place that's just inimically good, you will regain your fate points. Or you can blow money. If you spend money equal to what do you call it?
That is my favorite new way to get fate points.
Yeah, basically you just blow. It's whatever your monthly wage would equal if you were hired as a henchman. You basically blow that on whatever. Either like you buy a bunch of useless shit, or you drink a bunch, or you go carousing. You'll get your fate points back that way.
I love it.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And then if there are other ways too, like there are other optional ways. I think if like I don't want to be giving them out regularly, but if there's like a singular moment of role playing that's really fucking great, or like you play your character incredibly well, you know, and everyone's like, oh, that totally deserves a fate point, then I'm happy to acquiesce there. But yeah, so that's how with that in mind, did you want to spend a fate point to reroll? Or are you okay?
No, I'm okay. I'll let some other characters. I've already killed 2, so.
All right, Chip, what's he doing?
He is continuing to move down the hallway to catch up to the crew. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he'll be.
Okay, and then Ookla, what are you doing?
Why does Cal not have a health bar?
Cal does. Maybe I don't have it set so you can see it. One second. Oh, you know why?
I can see everyone's but his.
Yeah, I know why. Hold up here. I'll show you. Because I am a dummy. And I made it only in, oh, there we go. Save changes. There we go. And I will, you know what I'll do actually too, James, is let me flip you Cal's character sheet too, if you were curious. So hold up here. But anyway, let's see who's next. Ookla, what's Ookla doing?
How many squares can he move?
Yeah, 4.
Oh, so everyone moves 4.
Yeah. Hold up here, but I think there's an action called a charge, just like in other versions of D&D.
Okay.
And I think what it means is you move 20 and then make your attack. Let's see here. Let's say he can do that. So if you can get 6 squares and attack somebody, I'll let you do that. And then I'll look up the actual rules afterwards.
No, he can't get 6 squares.
Oh, he can't. So never mind then.
He's 1 square away.
Of no value. Okay. So Ookla's, is he moving? Is he dancing? What is he doing?
3, 4. He's going up this way.
Okay. And then next up is Kel. What's Kel doing?
Can I move?
Kel. I seriously cannot get away from rhyming fucking PCs. Good Lord.
Can I
It's
move?
like to mess with you guys.
Can I move, shoot, move?
You cannot. No, you got to do your everything all in one. I might be
Oh,
wrong about that, but let's
he's
say
risky, but I'm shooting this guy over here. I'm going to give this a shot.
Ah,
So
hey,
I
that's
guess
great.
you don't know about our character
What-
creation website that we use.
Yeah. One thing I forgot. Sorry, guys. Because it's the first time I run this. When you run, you can move twice your move. You can charge where you move and then move up to triple your combat movement rate. Holy shit! So Ookla could move 120 feet and then attack if he wanted. So let's let Ookla make his move.
Okay, because then he would go right up there, and he.
So Ookla also gets a charge and he gets 2 attacks.
Okay. He's not doing his crazy berserk thing. He's just attacking.
Attack normally, okay.
Yeah.
He knows that things may go poorly.
Oh, that's a miss.
Okay, so he has a second one though. So his little visitor sees him coming and oh, he's so frustrated. He's so angry. Ookla, what the heck? Now it's Kel's turn. What's he doing?
Step out, and then he's shooting that guy. Ugh.
Which guy? Okay, here's the thing. So this is not in the rules as written. This is an optional rule that I really like. So when you're firing into melee, you can do two things.
Mhm.
You can aim and take a -4 to hit, and then you'll hit the target that you're aiming at. You won't hit your ally. Or you can just roll your attack roll, and then if you hit, I roll randomly to see who you hit. Yeah. The thing is, you have to be at short range in order to do that, to aim.
Okay.
But here's the upside to the plasma pistol. They've only got short range. They're super, what do you call it, accurate.
Oh.
What do you want to do? Do you want to shoot into there? Take -4?
I don't get a
Do
huge.
it.
I don't get a huge. All right, we'll do it. We'll try.
Thanks.
It's the first adventure. Maybe the last.
So I'll do an attack throw modifier of -4. Is that what it is?
Yep. So you fire, and unfortunately, as much as you've got some, you know how to work this thing, it's really just not your thing. And I picture you sort of doing it like, you know, like the caricature of like the dandy firing a gun, kind of like.
Well, as Cal is moving forward, he's watching him and kind of copying how he holds the gun because he doesn't know how to use this thing. It's just like,
Yeah.
I guess this does something.
That's awesome. Okay, so Kel's gone. Now it is the visitor's turn. Okay, so because he's in melee, let's see here. Can you use? I don't think he can use. Yeah, in order to use missile weapons, opponents must be at least 5 feet apart. So this one visitor is going to try and aim and hit the giant Mog. Oop, I'm in the wrong button here. Sorry, guys. He kind of tries to aim at his buddy, or aim and miss his buddy. That's a wild miss. There's a flash as his pistol goes off. The guy who's engaged with Ookla is going to do, because this will be a way of demonstrating how you do this. So he's doing what's called a fighting withdrawal, which allows you to move backwards at half your combat movement. However, there must be a clear path of movement. Nope. So you can't do it. Well, it's 10 feet wide whole corridor, and these guys are fairly small. I think he can. So here's the way a fighting withdrawal works, guys, is he starts to move back. And that's the only action he can take right now. If one of you guys charges in, he gets to make a free melee attack against the person coming in. That's how that works. One other neat little rule with this particular game, too, is if you've got a spear, you can generally kind of stick a stab at somebody as they're coming in. That's in addition to be able to set it against charge. Because like pole arms and things like that have a better range. You just get a chance to get a shot off before someone with a a sword or a shorter weapon does. Okay, so Ookla, they've moved out, and one of them is cautiously moving away from you. These guys up here come running around the corner, and I think they'll be able to shoot at Cal. Get the specimen, they say. They say their weird, quirky, or crackling voice. Get the specimen. And Kel, what's your armor? 1, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Uno. So,
Getting hit.
Fortunately, no. You know what? They're oh, actually, no. Chance to hit you is actually a little better. One of them does manage to hit. And you take 6 points of damage. I think it's like there's a flare of sparks as it hits you in the shoulder. And you turn around and see there's more visitors back there. All right, I think that's the end of the round, guys. Let's clear the deck. Anybody casting spells this turn?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Love it.
I like it.
Let me initiatize for the old visitors. Oh, I won. Love it. Okay, Cal's got a good one.
Oops.
Ooh, Chip Chirp's got a decent one. Ookla. Oh, terrible roll for Ookla. Hey, Kel's rocking it, though. He's pissed. All right, guys. So, Kel, you said you were casting a spell?
Yes.
What are you casting?
Scorching Ray.
Oh, so here's how Scorching Ray works in this game. You cast 3 Scorching Rays, and you what do you call it? You do 4d6 damage with each one that hits.
Okay.
Now I asked, so there's some ray spells that are in this game where what you do is you use the fighter's attack bonus because you got a better chance to hit with them. That doesn't appear to be the case with Scorching Ray, and I asked the community on Google Plus about this to see whether there was, anyone had any insight. Unfortunately, I didn't get an answer in time, and I suspect that because it does so much damage and you get so many of them, that you just use your normal attack rate. But if you hit, they take full damage, no saves. So, which are you just gonna do these one at a time if you like?
Yeah, I'm basically one at each.
Okay, so
one there. Hey.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on them and make a. Let's see here. I don't know if there is a basic. Is there a basic range attack on there?
Yes, there is.
Oh, hold on. No, there isn't. Let's just add your thing here.
Yeah, there's basic ranged. It's 9 plus 0.
Oh, yeah, it says at the top here. Oh, no. Does that let you roll, though?
It's got dice beside it.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's do this instead, because this way it'll roll.
Would I add my dex to that?
Okay, go ahead and click on your Scorching Ray ability. Let's see.
Would I add dex to that?
You would add your dex to it, and I've actually added an attack for Scorching Ray for you.
Oh, where's that?
Under your range attacks.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
So click on the token that you want to shoot, and go ahead. Okay, so one of them flies by him.
All right. Same one.
Okay. Oh my God!
Seriously?
You
I have no
one on that one.
I have no attack throw modifier though. It's 0.
Well, you got +1, and well, it doesn't add to. Remember, like all you need to roll is a 9 or higher, but you're basically subtracting 3 from your roll.
Why am I subtracting 3?
Because that's what the armor is. Like really, okay. So the number you need to roll on a d20 is a 13, or sorry, a 12. The reason I know that is because I'm taking your attack throw, which is 9 or higher, and then I'm adding their armor and then subtracting your dex bonus. So that gives me a total of 12. So you need to roll 12 or higher on the d20. If you were doing this, with just a d20, that's what you would need to hit. So let's see. One more. Come on. Big money. Big money. Scorch a hole through this fucker. Ah! What the shit? Now, remember, you have fate points.
Let's use a fate point.
Yeah. Let's see if we can burn somebody.
What does that do?
I want to see one of these things hit. I want to see how much damage you do.
Right.
Because the next one that you guys hit is actually a little tougher. Oh, not that tough, though. Wow. All right, so what does it look like as you fucking incinerate this thing there, James?
Well, apparently I send down these fireballs and they're just missing them and hitting the walls.
Yeah.
But one of them finally comes down, gets him right in the head, and then burns his head.
It wasn't. If it was if you'd rolled more than 10 to what you needed to hit, I would have had his plasma pistol cook off. All right, so let me just burninate one of these guys now. Ooh. So that means that your Scorching Ray slam against the back wall. I just want to reveal something for you guys because this is pretty funny. Look what's behind the walls, guys.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either, but I imagine it's not good. It's probably not helpful to apply Scorching Rays to it. So basically, hit the walls and those things blow out. I'm going to make blast breath saves for these guys, which is also garbage for them. Both of them fail. James, would you kindly roll 2d6 for me? Let's see how much damage they take from their explosion. That's 1, and go ahead and roll for the other. Oh my God. So they're both consumed by this blue ball of fire that shoots out of that thing. All of you, this whole thing, suddenly the corridor pitches violently in the direction that Calvalos is. And you all sort of, whoa, what the? And The next few moments are a total fucking blur. All you know is I need, let's see here, Cal, I need you to make a roll for me, please, for your proficiency, for your tech proficiency. Let's see if you can figure out where the life pods are.
I've not been rolling well. Right.
I got a good feeling now.
Oh! My God!
Apparently that feeling was just being hungry, or maybe gas.
Oh.
So, so the whole thing rocks to the side. You all kind of scream. Anybody else can try and find where the things are. You just need to roll, I think, like an 18 or higher.
Find what things are.
Where the life pods are. Yeah, let's see here. Is it field experimentation? I'm just trying to find what the number is here. Okay. Trying to see if there's any spells that would help, and I don't think so. So I think that what I'm gonna have to get you guys to do, sorry for this, is, well, here, first off, before we get, with rolling the last breath saving throws and taking damage, Cal, do you want to spend one of your fate points to try and re-roll that?
You know what? Sure, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's try. Okay.
Yeah, that's the shit. All right. So we see this panic moment. There's fire. There's explosions. There's screams of visitors, and then you get into the escape pod. It sort of seals shut and shoots out. But then almost immediately there's a crashing and rolling, and you all lose consciousness. When you awake, you can see that. I think that it probably goes here. What I'll get you guys to do is, why don't you click on? This is roll initiative. Let's just do that, and whoever rolls lowest, they're the last ones to wake up. Doesn't really matter. It's just what do you call it? It'll be for dramatic purposes. Cal, maybe Cal. Ookla's rocking this. He's certainly not. Okay, Cal. So Cal, you're the last one to sort of wake up, and you're you're feeling bruised and battered, and you're looking around, and you're in sort of what looks to be like maybe a well, or that's how you're processing the thing, or maybe a circular room of some kind. Whatever it is, there's an entrance at the far end, and you seem to be at about like maybe a 45-degree angle on the floor, and there's some stuff that's scattered around in here, and there's a very, very bright light that's coming in through the entrance, and you can hear talking outside. What do you do?
What do you mean I'm at a 45-degree angle?
Like the whole floor, the whole room seems to be like tilted at a 45-degree angle, and you're at the bottom of that.
I'm looking around. Does it look like there's scorch marks, or is it just a clean room and it just happens to be wonky?
It looks like, I mean, whatever when before it's coming back to you now. Like when you were on the visitor's ship, the other human, Calvin, he told you, he rushed all you guys down into some room. He told you to get in there, that it would be safe. You went in, he hit some button, and then the floor seemed to shift. And then you suddenly, you remember violently the whole room started shaking, and that's the last sort of thing you remember.
Do I still have my pistol?
You do, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to sort of move off to the side, away from the door. Not away from the door, but like out of the door's line of sight, so I can shoot whatever comes through the door.
Okay. You recognize at least, well, certainly one of the voices stands out for you, because it's rare that you've heard such a growling, yet articulate and noble voice as that of Ookla. You also recognize the squeaky little voice of Tip Chirp and the voice of your savior, Calvin. They seem to be the ones outside, and it's in a conversational tone.
Oh, okay. So I'll put the gun away and I'll come around the corner.
So you climb to the top and get out, and this is what you see. And it is hot.
Well, boys, where are we?
Chip Chirp looks around and says, "You are awake. Are you injured?" His voice was even squeakier before. "Yeah, are you awake?"
I am awake. I am, however, injured too.
Come here. The spirits answer my call again.
And he brings you over and he takes your hand. Now, one thing you've got, Jeff, is you're actually trained in first aid, and that is reflected by your healing proficiency. And one of the neat ways that this game kind of like spreads possible healing around is if you've got a proficiency in healing, and depending how good it is, you can actually heal, basically like do the equivalent of like a cure wounds type thing. At your level of proficiency, Jeff, you're without anything else, you can make a, what is it? I think it's 1d3. Oh, so you can treat the patient, and if you diagnose them, and then they gain an extra d3 hit points per day. However, if you use a one of your med pack things, and I imagine there's an equivalent in this pod here, it actually counts your healing proficiency as one tier higher, which means that you do on a roll of 18 or higher, you get to make a basically a cure light wounds, the equivalent of a cure light wound spell.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty fucking good, and there's other stuff too, because Chip Chirp knows the sort of the area here. He grabs this desert thistle, which is called I can't remember, it's called something wart, angel wart or something like that. And basically what it does is, oh no, sorry, I'm confusing that with poison shit. That's for poisons. It does have something there that will give you a bonus for your proficiency check for poisons. Let me just go to the proficiency section again here. And where are you? So the proficiency at level 2 or rank 2, 18 or higher, you can cast a cure light wounds on them. Not, you don't cast it, you know, but you.
What's the equivalent of?
It's the equivalent of it. And what is your total hit points, James? I think it's 17, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm 7 down.
You're so wow. So that was a big hit.
Yeah.
Oh, because you clarked your head too, right? Okay, hold up, where is it here? I'm using there's optional rules out of one of the expansion books that basically scales, like basically, you know, like in D&D, like a cure light wounds becomes a useless fucking thing when you're higher level. Like, it's such a trivial amount that it's almost not worth using. This basically makes it so it scales, all healing spells will scale with whatever level you are. So cure light wounds will heal as if you rested for a day, because you have 17 hit points. You'll heal 1d6. So do you want to try and get that healing off there first, Cal, or you want to let Chip Chirp use one of his spells? He has 2 first-level divine spells per day.
I can try my healing first, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, there's no penalty. So you get this visitor's kit out. Oh, hey, let's do this first. Let's make a technology roll. See if you can figure out how to use this visitor's kit.
Oh god.
Just give me less than 1.
Yeah. What explodes in your face?
Roll 20.
Oh yes, nice.
Cool.
Really good. Okay, so yeah, you absolutely know what everything is.
Isn't that exactly what he needed? Oh, that was for the healing.
I'm going to allow you to have, you know, that whatever stuff I mentioned, the something wart. You've actually got a technological equivalent of that in here, and you know how to use it. So if you have to neutralize poison, you can add +2 to your proficiency roll. You also add your intelligence to your proficiency roll as well. So that 18 is really, what's your intelligence? +1?
Yeah.
Yeah, +1. So really, it's a 17 is what you need. Yeah, you need a 17 or higher to get the cure light wounds on this guy. If not, he'll just heal 1d3 when he rests.
Okay, so it's just a straight d20.
That's right.
Okay. Oh, sorry,
No,
James. You took my good rolls.
You know, and it's not that you fail. It's not like you're like, you know, wrapping his head in bandage or something like that. It's just like
Pulling it tight.
There's not really much more. Like, I guess, like, there's, you know, it's cauterized the wound. It's, you know.
Right. I couldn't perform anything really impressive.
He's giving you some, like, you know, space Tylenol. So you'll, you know, you'll get a good rest and heal a little more.
Probably more of a placebo.
Oh, but what he'll do is, with the healing proficiency, you'll heal twice your healing rate for each day of rest. If you take a whole day just to rest, then you will you'll gain 2d6 hit points back. But that means you need to spend a full day, and you've got no food, no shelter, no water that you're aware of right now. But let's see if Chip Chirp comes forward and he says,
Trust not in those machines. The visitors are tricksters. They're the spirits. The spirits will heal.
and his voice kind of drifts into kind of a calming Muppet-like quality, and he speaks some words in his language, just kind of a popping, kind of clicking kind of sound. And let me just check. I think it's 1d6 you heal, but let me double check here. Your wounds is. Oh my god, you take 5 damage. No, I'm kidding. So Chip Chirp is your henchman, Jeff. Why don't you roll 1d6 plus 1?
6 plus 1.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, 6 points back. Not bad at all.
6 points?
6 points.
One away from full.
Well, and when you, if you did spend a day's rest, you would get more back as well.
Yeah,
so
we're not spending a day's rest.
No. So you look around and you pull out, and that's when once Chip Chirp kind of lets go of your hands, and he looks at you with those big kind of bug eyes. Let's remember what Chip Chirp looks like, because I love how he looks. Those
Yeah,
big
he's
eyes.
awesome.
And he kind of clicks his head to the side. Better?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, spirits with you.
And Petals sort of like swirls beside him. And
What is Petals?
Petal is his spirit companion. That's that thing.
What is it? Just twinkling lights, or
No, it's swirling green leaves in kind of a rough, spindly kind of. If you picture like a very small, not like squat, like a small kind of Groot, but only made out of like swirling leaves instead of like rustling, swirling leaves. No twigs, no anything else. And it still seems to always like hang in this rough humanoid shape. But when it moves, it sort of like seems like a swirling. You can barely tell it's an actual thing.
so it's almost like an air elemental with leaves swirling around it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So he let's see here. And no one else is injured, are they?
Yeah, I'm a little bit injured.
Until I read otherwise, I think you can try using healing on yourself.
Okay.
Try that?
Well, yeah.
Sure. You're a tough and gritty kind of guy. Whoa!
Oh, of course.
Yeah. No problem. So go ahead and roll 1 plus 1. That's how much you heal. Jesus Christ. Both ends of the spectrum. You heal too, so that's something.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. No. Okay, so what you are now that you guys are better, Ookla turns to you and says, "Now, what do we do about that?" And he gestures over, and what you see is this, guys.
What is that?
That I think that's a correct question for Kel. What does that look like to you there, Kel?
It looks like the visitor's ship.
Your mind goes to like sailing ship, obviously, Kel, and you're just like, what the? How would that float? It's all made out of metal and sink. It looks like a coin.
And how big is it? It looks like the size of a castle.
Oh, it's fucking huge. Yeah, yeah. It's not necessarily the castle. This particular vessel is about the size of, let's see here. So to Kel, it's about the size of a like a regional manor, like the kind of thing that, like, you know, I'm trying to think. This is a terrible reference, but do you remember the Russell Crowe Robin Hood?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay, so the size of the home that Marion lived in, that's probably what you would think of. Like, okay, it's about that big. For a modern viewer, like, or a modern person like you, Cal, it's about the size of a strip mall.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite big, and it's got smoke bellowing out of it. Now, you Ookla, you find he was the first of you guys to wake up. He's been watching that thing for quite a while, and there are a couple of those like metal spheres that are sort of drifting around near that thing, and which obviously, you know, Cal, you've seen. Well, you guys have all seen those things. They're the weird like metal, you know, spheres that accompany the visitors as they make their way around the ship. Cal, I think that you probably don't need to make a roll to figure out that it's probably like a drone of some kind. But Ookla has not seen any visitors come out of that. Now, let me introduce you guys on a metagame context to another part of the game. So this is where you guys are. You're crashed in the middle. This is what it looks like in every direction apart from where that crashed ship is. Let me show you where you are. This, guys, each of these hexes represents 6 miles. And you can travel in desert terrain. You can travel about 18 miles. Sorry, is it 18? 16 miles per day. You will require water every day. Every day you do not have water, you start losing hit points. Now you do require food every couple of days, and every couple of days you go without food, you start losing hit points. And every hex you enter, you roll for a random encounter. If you spend a day in a hex, you also roll for a random encounter. What you guys can see from this vantage is that right off in this direction here, that next hex down there, looks like there are some fairly close mountains. Up here, there are further another set of low mountains that are probably a day's travel away. And then over in this direction, you think you can see, again, mountains, but with some, what do you call it? With some greenery at the base on your side of the mountains. So over here, it looks like there are some mountains with maybe some greenery, like a jungle or an oasis or something. They are about a day's travel away as well, you'd guess. Over in this direction, there are more mountains. Over in this direction, it's nothing but trackless sand. Down here, trackless sand. And then very close, like half a day's travel, if that. Over in this direction, you could probably get to some other mountains. So you have the choice. Again, we just track things by. We keep track of all time in this stuff. It is probably, I'm going to guess, about, I don't know, midday right now. I'll say it's morning. You guys are probably, we'll give you the full day. So you guys are free to do what you want. I guess you can. There's a downed saucer here. You can try and set out and try and make it to somewhere.
I was thinking the saucer. Like, oh, first off, how did we get down here?
Are you
We're
asking
like
as Kel, or are you asking as yourself, James? Kel probably doesn't quite understand what happened, but
Yeah,
Are you
I'm asking as Kelv. It's like, how did we get here?
awesome. I love role playing.
Last we were in that hallway with those things coming at us.
What? Do I know?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know because you got them to the escape pod.
Right, we took an escape pod.
What's an escape pod?
It's like a vessel. You must have ships or cars or something where you're from.
We have boats. Large ships would be large boats. I have no idea what a car is. It's like a cart.
Yeah, it's like a cart.
Okay.
We took a fancy cart.
I must have been out for a long time to not remember this.
I guess Ookla maybe carried him or something?
So where's the boat that we were in? Now, as a player, is this saucer? Was that the ship we were in?
No.
Oh, this
I
is
think
so.
that's
This
the
is
main ship. Or is that the ship we were in?
I'm trying to think here. I think that what Cal would probably conclude. Well, let's think this through. Like, what else could that be? Like, do you think that the odds are that your let's back up. Why do you think that your escape pod hit the ground so fast?
Oh, because the whole ship is already crashing.
Yeah.
Right, we were close to the ground when we ejected.
Yeah.
so. This then, as a player, this was probably then the vessel we were in.
What?
This was probably
The size of a ball? Escape vessel?
no. The escape pod came from this ship.
Yes. That is the ship we were on. That is what I believe. You will find ourselves and many dead visitors on there.
I'm okay with that. Should we not maybe get whatever we can salvage from that ship before we go off into the deserts?
We could attempt
Along
to
with-
get supplies, but those drones may attack us. Are you ready to battle for some supplies?
Well, yeah, if it means that or survival in the desert without supplies.
Okay.
We have no idea where we are. I have no idea where we are.
No, none of us have any idea where we are.
So I think we need to get whatever we can get.
Sure.
Did
Let us
you
attempt to board the ship.
So just because the style of play here is certainly more old school than we normally do, you've got unless you guys expressly tell me you're going to do something, and how you're going to do it, I'm not going to assume that you've done it. So for instance, if you want to scrounge around in this escape pod to make sure you've got anything that's worth grabbing out of here, you have to tell me that, okay, we're going to check in all the containers. We're going to make sure there's nothing under the seats.
Yeah, no, that sounds smart. We would do that first. Get whatever supplies we can from this before we
From the ship we're on, right?
Sure. Okay. So what I'm going to do then, guys, is let me roll and see what. Oopsies. Okay. So let's see here. I should have applied. There are some awesome rules. So the game takes into account for, you know, like in other things, you know, you sort of get into other D&D games, sort of get into a habit of like grabbing everything from the corpses and then selling that shit.
Yep.
There's rules where basically you roll, because you're scavenging it, you basically roll to see what the condition of the thing is, and it's assumed that like if it's with a orc or, you know, a goblin or something like that, it's going to have a bunch of shit wrong with it because these people are not living, you know, they're not maintaining it well or whatever. And I forgot to do that with the stuff, so you guys are getting two pretty problem-free plasma pistols right now. Let's see. I'm gonna roll twice here. Let's see what else is on this thing. Oh, pretty cool. Okay, so what you find in the vessel is, wow, you get 9 extra energy crystals.
Ooh. That'll be good.
Wow. That's awesome.
You know what you're thinking too? On your ship, Cal, you had not only did you have your flight suit that you got on right now, you had something called enclosed armor. It's like a power armor kind of thing that could have life support.
Oh, then I definitely want to go back and look for that on the vessel.
Yeah, and you could very easily rework these crystals to power that thing, because you do need to have a power source on that thing. You also find, let me see here, what I don't know what these actually do here. Let's find out. Do you find some, what I'm looking up, guys, is spare parts, and I actually don't know what the spare parts are. I don't know. Let's see, what does it say? What does it say? Spare parts. Stimulant, painkiller, truth serum. Oof. Lots of cool shit that you can find in these guys.
Stop lying to me.
Who, me? Sorry. Oh, here we go. Spare part. Repairing a weapon, a suit of armor, or a general device requires 1 unit of spare parts, while repairing a robot or a vehicle requires 1 unit of spare parts per 10 hit points. Oh, okay. So the spare parts are basically shit you guys use to like the abstract unit to repair other advanced technology. What you find?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whoa! You find 8 spare parts.
Nice. So we have 9 crystals and 8 spare parts.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah, that seems darn good.
Okay, so what do you want to do next then, guys? The thing is on the ground there, and it appears that there are some things that are sort of swirling around.
Well, I figured we'd try to be sneaky and work our way back to the shuttle without the ship without being seen, or to try to go into an area that has the least amount of drones.
Sure. So describe to me how you're gonna sort of do that. Let's take a look at the picture of the fallen craft again. And come on, open up. No, because it's already open, dummy. There we go. Show the players. There's the players. There we go. So looks like there's maybe a crest or some kind of like a gully on the other side there, and then there's a clearing in front. I think probably because there's a bit of a gully behind. There's maybe 1 or 2 drones that are behind there, and then there's maybe, let me roll they come in units actually. So let's see here. There's only 1 around back, and then there are 2, 3, there are 4 in that sort of larger open area. So if you want to go around back, there's only maybe 1 of them there that you'd have to get past. I can tell you that Chipchorp is extremely sneaky. His chance of success on his, let's see here, on his move silently is pretty freaking high, because he basically counts as a thief equal to his level, and he's level 5. So move silently is a 9 or higher plus his. What's Chip Chirp's dex bonus?
Dex. Plus, well, plus 2.
Plus 2. Okay, so 7 or higher to move silently, 8 or higher to hide in shadows. So if he wants to sneak past this thing, depending on how he's trying, if he's trying to hide in shadows or if he's trying to, you know, just.
So he could actually maybe sneak by them.
What? Let's see here. What?
But I don't know if he could sneak by them carrying all the supplies we're after. So.
No, and but gosh, James, did you take with your spells?
I did. What about my spells?
Maybe you have something
You
relevant.
got a 2nd level spell that I think would probably be pretty handy.
Detective. Oh, the invisibility.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's only good for one person. It doesn't help the rest of the group.
No. And you guys haven't actually fought these things, so you don't know how tough they are.
Right, that's true.
To be honest, you don't even know if they've actually got, if they're actually armed or not.
Right, like for all we know, they're patrols or
Scouts.
science drones or scouts. We really don't know.
Shoot one and see what happens.
Sure.
I was joking.
Well, how else do you want to find out what they do? I mean, we can sneak until we're forced to encounter them.
Yes, let's sneak in.
So what Chip Chirp says is that by calling on his god, he could, here's some of the spells he has access to, guys. Because again, his repertoire is whatever his god wants to let him have, or his spirits want to let him have. Obscuring Mist. What else would be helpful here?
I mean, that's pretty useful.
Yeah.
Eventually. We could try to use that to sneak by them.
So obscuring, let me check the duration of it. Obscuring Cloud, it lasts for 10 minutes, or sorry, 1 turn per level. So that's 10 minutes. That means he... Is that one? Hold on, I think I'm fucking up the turns, guys. Maybe turns are only a minute. Let me just double check
That
this.
sounds more reasonable time length.
Let me see. If I had a turn is 10 minutes. Round is 10 seconds. So there are 60 rounds in a turn. Okay, so it is 10 minutes. Yeah, so that's like very long-lasting spell.
So if I've got something that's 12 turns, how long is that? That's
12 turns is 120 minutes.
So it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
I see what you mean by the spells are more powerful.
Oh yeah, like they're it's so one little other insight I'll give you on the game is that the game basically wanted to make both the math and the economics work and make sense. So they reworked all of that stuff from the ground up to rebuild basically this version of D&D. So like certain spells, like so that you don't see light on every, continual light on every fucking corner, and there's not like whole cities that are just filled up with the stuff. It doesn't last that long. Continual light is not a permanent spell. It's really expensive to do that shit. So it sort of allows the spells to be really, really powerful, but not, making you question the economy or the economics of it. Anyway,
right.
Because I was thinking if we do get into the ship, I've got a spell called ESP that I can use to detect if there are visitors
very
in
cool.
the vicinity. And the fact that I've only got one per day, I'm trying to make certain if I'm going to use a spell, it's for good purpose, and invisibility one is not a good use of that one slot. So once we get inside, I will cast ESP, but in the meantime, I want to focus on trying to get in first.
You got 2 second level spells per day, don't you? But you cast Scorching Ray, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and that's second level, not third level. Third level, I've got a single spell.
Yeah. And third level, I think yours are Haste and Spell Magic, isn't it? And
Yeah.
maybe a couple more?
Nope, just those 2.
Just those 2, okay. What's your intelligence model? It's +3, isn't it?
Yes.
I think your DM might have cheaped you out of some other third level spells for your repertoire. You'll have to have a word with him, definitely.
Well, maybe when the DM has the full book, he'll know the rules better.
Yeah, the actual print version of the book. Oh man, I can't wait to get the print version. All right. Anyway, okay. So then, what's the plan here, guys?
I think we should just sneak over there as best we can and try to get onto the ship.
And deal with any drones if they try to engage us. Because if they don't engage us, like if I destroy a scout, if we don't need to.
Okay. Give me a sec here. Okay, so here's another interesting thing about this version of D&D, guys.
This game is too interesting. There's too many interesting things.
Well, it's because there is. It's such a different way of playing than the way, I played earlier versions of D&D. I played, basic D&D and AD&D and AD&D second edition, but I never really played them by the rules. Like, I sort of like half read them and then just made up whatever the fuck I wanted with them. I never actually applied all the rules. And this one really tries to make sense of those earlier rules, and it assumes that, like, look, there's a reason that those rules were there in the first place. And it tries to extrapolate what the reason is and then make up a more consistent way of modeling that. Okay. What I was going to say, though, is that the other interesting thing is that everybody, let's see here, whether you're trained or not, can make a check to try and spot something. So I am going to make a check for each of you. I want to see if you spot something. Normally, I would just make this roll secretly and cackle maniacally, but instead, I'm going to roll, tell you, so you know what the mechanic is that's at play here. All right, so Cal, you are not noticing anything. Cal, you're not noticing anything. Roll for your henchman. Oh, Ookla, nope. How about Chip Chirp? Nope, not Chip Chirp either. So whatever it is I was rolling for, nobody noticed it. So what are you guys gonna do?
Sneaking in.
Okay. All right, so if you're gonna sneak in, basically well, let me see here. I'm gonna look at the rules because I know that there are rules for sneaking. Sneaking and surprise.
Surprisingly sneaky.
Surprisingly sneaky. So you're trying to sneak up on them. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a roll and see if they're surprised or not. I will tell you that if they are distracted, if they hear a noise, or if they're then you guys are caught. So let me roll for. I'm assuming you're trying to just sneak past the 2 robots, right, or the 2 drones.
You know what?
Right?
Can I cast a spell first before we sneak?
Of course, yeah.
I just realized here I have a spell called Luck.
Ooh, interesting. What luck do?
Duration is 6 rounds, or until discharge. The spell brings you a touch of magical luck.
Sorry, 6 rounds or 6 turns?
6 rounds.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
You receive a +1 on a single attack throw, saving throw, or proficiency skill throw.
So that wouldn't apply to these necessarily. It only lasts a minute.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
6 rounds is 10 seconds per round, so it lasts for a minute. It's a good chance.
Then I won't cast it.
No, so like one of the things that's different about this one is basically it makes a lot of stuff player facing. So like you're not, because these are what matters is whether they hear you or not. I make the roll for them to see if they hear you. Oh, guys, rolled a nat 20.
Wow.
So that was our stealth roll. So we're good.
No, that was their hearing roll. If you did, so like, if you succeeded, this gets around the whole, like, you know, someone in the party having a shitty stealth check. Basically, what I do is I roll to see if they hear. They have to actually succeed in their hearing in order to, you know, hear you guys, and no problem there. Well, now there's a problem because they've heard you. So I think you guys are sneaking along. Which of you four do you think is the least stealthy?
Really, the big hairy guy is not.
Okay. So he is stalking around behind you guys. I think you're probably about. Actually, here I'll roll for. You know what? I'm going to use the chart and roll the encounter distance, because that way you're in a desert. 46 times 10. Okay. All right, so I rolled, oh, that's pretty far. That's 12, 14, it's 140 yards away when Ookla, unfortunately, steps on something and there's a bunch of stuff goes rolling down, you know, this...
and he looks at Chirp Chirp as if he had done
it. Petal kind of shakes its leaves angrily at Ookla. All right, so let's roll to see who's surprised here. You guys were ready. They were not. So I'm rolling for them. I rolled a 4. They're ready. Is that right? Yeah. Guys, why don't one of you roll for surprise for me, please?
Sorry, roll off.
Rolling surprise is always 1d6.
Oh.
I'll give you +1 because of Ookla. There. 3. Thank God for Ookla. You guys are ready. Okay. So here's the downside. You guys are now in combat with 2 of these drones. The upside is when you are in a wilderness encounter, you treat your range of everything, spells, weapons, whatever else, as yards, not as feet, in the same amount. So you're, yeah, so you're able to shoot a lot further when you're outside than when you are inside. So let's, I guess let's go to a map here. I don't have, oh, let me get your tokens as well, too. Where are you guys? You guys are on the ship. All right. You're going to maybe need to heal your tokens up as well, too, because I didn't do that yet. Boom, there you go. There's your guys. And let me add some drones here. What can I use for robots? Robots. You know what? I'm going to do a quick search under the assets with the robots. Hot damn. Some kind of weird, sexy robot. Some of these are more appropriate than others for the purposes to which I want to put them. You know what? I'm just going to use... oh, there we go. It's kind of cool. I'll use these guys as the drones. Now, they're not super big, and there's only 2 of them. So let me do this. Boom. All right. So let me do something here. I want to ask you guys to go ahead and roll initiative for your guys.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just setting up a character sheet for this thing. I was going to remember to do that in the future. And just need to have their armor and their initiative. Okay. So let me roll for these guys. Boom. And everybody is set. Oh, look at that. Kel, you're up first again. My goodness. Now, Kel, you did not tell me that you were going to cast a spell. Did you? Was that intentional?
No, that was not intentional because I was
Not intentional. Okay, so you told me that you were going to cast a spell this round, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's great. Good for you. Hold on, let me see what the reason is for that. I don't think that you cast at the end of the round. I don't think that's how it works, but let's just make sure. There's initiative. Initiative, here we go. Combat's mission to move defensively or cast spells in the upcoming round must inform the judge before the initiative dice are rolled. So that's cool. So if you're going to move defensively as well, like I kind of cheated there with that visitor because I didn't declare that before. Remember when you did that fighting withdrawal?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
That was me cheating. That was me cheating. So, okay, no, you still cast your spell on your turn. It's just that you have to declare it before. So if someone goes before, they can interrupt you and make it so you ruin your casting.
Oh, I see. It's more like the other characters have knowledge that you're doing it. It doesn't change the speed at which you do it.
No, you just telegraph to everyone that you're sort of like drawing in magical power and getting ready to unleash on somebody. So that's what Kel was doing there.
It's like in World of Warcraft where the casters are doing this for
totally.
a little bit of time.
Yeah. Okay, so what are you going to do?
Scorching Ray on this guy over here if I can reach him.
So I said they were 140 yards. What's the range on Scorching Ray?
Oh, 30 yards.
It's only 30 yards?
Well, it's 30.
Don't remember, they convert over to yards in when you're outside. Same numbers.
Well, it says 30 feet.
So 30, that means it's 30 yards. So you're going to want to close a little bit. And outside, you can move, same thing, your movement in yards. So you could actually run 40 yards or run 80 yards forward.
Okay, let's do that.
So 80 yards forward means you're 60 yards away right now. So go ahead and just move yourself like, I don't know, yeah, a little ways towards that. So you're racing along. Next up is Cal. What are you doing?
Okay, so we can shoot these pistols super far outside.
240 yards.
Yeah, okay.
And you don't suffer.
I'll just move forward a bit to cover Calvanos, but I will fire. So I'll move somewhere
Suppressive fire, suppressive fire.
around there.
That's awesome.
And fire.
Not that I know what suppressive fire is.
Plasma.
Trying to keep someone from moving.
Dang it.
It literally suppresses them.
There we go. Bam!
Yes.
Oh man, max damage. Take that.
Max damage. Sorry, I was checking something here. Wow, great shot. Yeah. And their hit points are... yeah, that's more than I could possibly roll for hit points for it. So it explodes into sparks and like fire, and it's destroyed. It's whatever. I can't remember which one I clicked on to roll initiative, so I might actually lose my initiative tracker by killing this guy. Nope. 50-50 chance. Worked for me. Okay, so next up is him. All right, and then what it does is there's this like flash of light within inside, kind of like a strobe of tiny little lights that goes around the circle or the inside or the interior of that thing's dome. And that's all it that's its action. Kipchirp, what's he doing?
Let's see here. I don't know if he'd waste a spell on these things at that point. So maybe he's just being stealthy. He's gonna move over here. Try not to draw any fire.
Okay. Is he trying to actually hide? Like he's trying to make himself, because if he's unseen, then he's going to get backstabbed.
Oh, right, but he'd have to close a lot of distance. I mean, sure. I mean, I guess they could come closer. So yeah, he'll attempt to hide. I don't know what the roll is for that.
So for him, I think I said it was an 8 or higher.
Okay. So just raw d20.
Yeah.
Nice.
How did you do?
I got 10.
Nice. Great. Okay, yeah. So he disappears into the sand. His skin kind of like takes on this tan color, and Petal vanishes altogether, completely invisible. All right, Ookla, what's he doing?
He's going to run forward, and he's going to leap off of this rock.
So he can move. If he charges, he can move triple 120 yards. Can't quite reach that thing. So maybe he could run, which would be 80 yards.
Okay. I don't know where.
So about there.
Okay.
That sounds good. It's probably about as far as Kel can go. All right. So then, I'll spread at the edge. All right. So then that is the end of the round. Guys, let us remove all turns, and we'll roll initiative. Anybody casting spells?
I am casting a spell this round.
Okay.
I didn't
No
cast
defensive
my spell
movement or
last round.
anything. Sounds good. Initiative is done for the scout robot, which I forgot to name. Bush League, man. Bush League fucking DM.
My scroll is very slow when I scroll up and down these sheets.
Ooh, that's not.
There we go.
Ookla, that's terrible. What
Yep.
in the what?
See, a lot of red rolls there.
Yeah. It's a lot of that ones. All right. So, everybody's rolled. Hey, Cal did pretty well, though. Boom. Cal, speaking of Cal, you're up first, buddy.
Here he goes.
Oh, fuck. Oh, you know what? Shit. Cal could have cleaved.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that cleave.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay. Do you move up a bit there,
is
Cal?
Firing. Oh, man. It's scrolling so difficultly. Oh, nice. Bam.
Wow. That is really good. Okay, and let me roll. I didn't roll its hit points, so let's do that quickly.
It's not a lot of damage.
Yep. Would you roll for damage? Oh,
3.
Look at that. It explodes. It's still like flashing that strobe of white light around the inside when it explodes into pieces. Let's see here. I'm going to roll for everybody to hear a sound. I'm going to go through here. Chip chirp. What is everybody's? I know each of you guys has a +1 to wisdom, don't you?
Yes.
Let me check for your guys. Actually, Chip chirp's got +3, so I'm going to allow you to apply that bonus to your here. So it's a 17 or higher for each of you guys. So let's go around the order here. So Chip chirp, 15 or higher. Chip chirp sort of like sneaks up or pokes his head up behind the rock, and he's like all gray, or not gray, all like tan colored now. He says, What's that sound? And let's see if Cal, what sound? What do you mean? Ookla. Ookla doesn't hear it. What do you mean, lizard? And Kel, no idea what he's talking about. What sound do you mean? We're going to have to find out. Chip chirp, what's he doing this turn? Or round?
Maybe he'll indicate the direction that he heard the sound.
Oh, great. You know what I'll allow then? Everybody to make another hear noise check. So this time I'll let you guys roll it, so you're not stuck with my fucking rolls. So, well, actually, only Ookla and Cal can make those rolls because Cal's already gone. So Ookla, go ahead and give me a roll. You want to roll a 17 or higher?
What am I rolling?
D20.
With no bonus?
No bonus. I've included that in the number you need to get. Okay. So Ookla, you're craning your head and you still can't hear. How about Kel? No, still can't quite hear it. Well, don't worry, guys, because you're going to see it momentarily. From inside, you hear a coming from inside the fallen saucer, which is about around here. And what comes hovering out? And let me see what it's armed with. Oh, this gun loads up from underneath it. This is what you see.
Hello.
It is about the size of a Volkswagen. And comes drifting out. And let me add it to the screen here. There we go. That's probably about the correct size. And now let's clear the initiative order here, guys. Anybody casting
a spell?
Good call. All right, let me add. Let me just roll initiative for the Warbot. Boom. Warbot. And actually, I'll quickly roll in hit points for the Warbot too. I actually have this handy little dice roller open from Wizards. I just plug in the thing, hit roll, and it gives me the hit points of my monster. Nice. All right. And let me see what is this thing's. Oh, Dinah.
So how much can the how far can we move, Kev? Is it like
40 yards. 40 yards on a normal move. You could run to do a double move and run 80, but I don't think you get to attack then. Or you can charge, which is like running pell-mell towards one thing.
okay?
Let me double check though. Maybe you can run and attack. I want to double check to make sure I'm not applying like later versions or other versions of D&D rules. So when a character, you can choose to run. You're normally not allowed to attack, but you can charge. Running combatants can move at triple their normal combat movement. And you can run for a number of rounds equal to 2 times your constitution, after which you're exhausted and may only walk. Oh, okay. So sorry, I misread that before, guys. It's triple. So actually, James, if you wanted to move Kel further forward, you actually probably could have run up to 120 feet. Did I set this to the semi? I did not. Oh my God, Chip Chirp's way at the top there. Chip Chirp is up first. Jeff, was Chip Chirp going to cast a spell this round?
No.
Okay.
He's gonna.
Chip Chirp's got a short bow that does 1d6 damage. Let's just assume that's the case right now.
Okay.
Oh no, he doesn't actually. He's got no fucking weapons.
No, we have to get back on the ship to.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah,
Kev, he's gonna run and hide over here.
Okay. So you successfully hid before. So let's just give me a move silent check this time.
Sure.
That'll be.
Well, he's hoping to get a backstab in if this thing comes and closes on us.
That's a good call. Let's see here. What do you?
I don't know. I just picture this like chameleon scurrying across the desert and hiding under rocks.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So why don't we give him? It's a 6 or higher, I think, to move silently. I'll double check that afterwards, but I think that's what we looked up. So give me a 20 roll. Oh, nat 1.
Oh my gosh! With the nat ones.
Okay, so
I don't know. I can't use my hero points on him.
No, you can't.
Okay.
You know what? The Warbot, its giant head turns towards him, and that's going to be the first target.
Sorry,
Oh
Chip Chirp.
boy! All right, poor Chip Chirp. Cal, what are you doing? You were casting a spell.
I am casting a spell. I am moving up to the cactus here.
Okay.
And I'm casting
So that's what, like, is that within 40 yards?
Yeah, and
Probably.
what
Sure.
I was going to do is actually I was going to cast. Where is it there? Hey, where is it? There we go. Shield.
Nice. Okay.
This thing looks nasty, and I don't feel like getting shot.
No, that's a very good call. So this, what does your shield look like?
It is basically, it is going to be just a blue disc.
Okay.
Force.
Awesome. So your armor is now much more impressive. All
Should
right.
be grants the caster an armor class of 7 against missile attacks and 5 against melee.
Wow. That's gonna be helpful for this thing. That 7 will count with its plasma gun. Okay, Cal, what are you doing?
I guess I'll move and fire and maybe try to
Joining the
draw.
robots.
What's that?
Joining the robots. Kill all
Yeah.
humans.
I never liked you guys anyway. So, oh, of course it's on this side now. Here we go. Plasma
Oh, this thing is
pistol on a giant
fucking
robot
crazy
thing.
dangerous.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's that is an awesome fucking roll because this thing is got tough armor. All right, so you dive, roll forward, bring up your gun, fire away. This brilliant white lance or white lance of energy hits this thing's hull, and like this is like, you know, starship grade armor. This is incredibly fucking tough. But this white hot bolt cuts through it and scours away some of its internal mechanisms. It is not dead by any means, but that was a good hit. Okay. Who's next? Ookla.
Ookla runs and basically steps on the stone and jumps.
So he's parkouring? Wolf or parkour?
And I think you said that he could almost basically run.
I think he's probably close enough to be able to run up. Yeah, we're abstracting things. So if he wanted to charge, charging gives him +2 bonus to his attack roll, but he's got -2 to his armor class until the next time his initiative track comes up.
Okay, so he is attacking him.
Okay, that does sound like a Ookla thing to do. Oh, is he gonna do his berserker thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he gets another one.
Either you die or I die.
He will die.
He's hammering his claws against this thing. But as I said, the armor is so fucking tough.
Yeah.
Just blank, blank, battering, and it leaves like some pretty impressive gouges in the surface level stuff, but nothing substantial. He
Scratching
is
the paint.
pissed. Now hold on, you got even with a +2, it really doesn't make a difference. Shoot. Okay. Ookla is done. I mean, it is Warbot's turn. Well, he's closed in him, so he has done one thing. That means the Warbot cannot bring its weapons to bear on Chip Chirp, on Gecko Man. So he's going to have to use his claws, those vicious, they spin around like, that haircut thing that Stan Lee uses in Thor Ragnarok.
Nope. Missed that
No?
scene.
No, it's where he gets his hair cut off, and there's that thing that spins.
Yeah.
That was Stan Lee. So that's what these things are doing, spinning around. And so 2 attacks. Let's see here. Is Ookla's armor is only like a 2 right now, right? Or is it?
Where'd it go? 4.
So 4. Okay, so I need a 10 or higher to hit him. 2 go in. Only one of them hits. So one of them swirls around. Ookla ducks underneath the thing, but unfortunately it slams the other one, which carves a vicious kind of mark right up his back, leaving his furred shoulder a ruined mess. He takes 6 points of damage.
Okay.
That is the end of the turn, guys. Let's
Casting spell.
casting a spell. Okay. Anybody? The Warbot is going to try a what do you call it? A retreat. It wants to get its bigger weapons in play. Actually, and something else it has. a patch. Okay. Now I'm telling you guys to make sure you're clicking the tokens, and I'm not doing it myself.
I don't know. It's just...
Okay. Ookla. Now,
I just have to open and close their character sheets to see the map.
okay, sorry.
Yeah, there's so much.
It's no problem. It's like, and then you gotta open it, click on a different, you know what I mean? Like you gotta, it's a lot of clicking.
So one thing I want to point out is, okay, let's see here. Everyone's rolled. Awesome. Let's set this descending. Now, one thing I'm going to point out is the reason you declare what you're, whether you're doing a defensive maneuver or whether you're casting spells is so that the other people have an opportunity to respond to that. Ookla, you know that this thing is going to retreat. So there's two options that he could do. Ookla could just attack him now and try and get those attacks in, or he can let this thing back up, and then it can't attack this round, but it does get a chance to back up. And if Ookla holds his action and goes after it, then this thing gets to attack him as he goes in, but it locks him down and means he can't do a range attack again for another round. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It does? Okay, cool. So we've got no PCs going first, so who wants to go first, Chip Chirp or Ookla?
Ookla.
Go ahead. You have a more important decision, kind of.
Well, he's staying on top of this thing.
Okay, so go ahead and make your 2 attacks.
So
Gonna be +2 damage. Oh, that's again. Dang.
yay!
Yes, hits 9 points of damage. My God, wham! So you actually, I think you claw on one of them and it doesn't quite hit. This thing spins like it's going to run away, and you grab one giant plate of it. And as it starts pulling back, you just bring all of your strength. You cry out your tribe's name. This one giant piece of it rips off. That's a huge hit on it. Okay, good job, Ookla. So that is, let me think here. Actually, that is enough to trigger. I have to make a morale check if this thing does not check morale because it's a fucking robot. Let me see. So I'm trying to do the math here.
There's a programmed morale.
Yeah, it's programmed to it until it's told by someone to retreat to retreat. But yeah, and that's something I forgot to do with the visitors. But that's another thing I love about this is it reintroduces the idea of morale. So like when the first time you drop someone in a fight, they have to make a morale check, and then when they're at half, they have to make a morale check, and and that's it really. But henchmen as well too. Like when you guys suffer a massive loss, henchmen have to make morale checks. They get bonuses equal to your charisma modifiers. So there's that. And if you've spent a lot of money on them, like you paid more than what their actual salaries are, it gives a bonus to it. But they may turn around as well. Okay, so that was Ookla. That means Chip Chirp's up next. What's Chip Chirp doing?
I think he is still going to try to sneak around behind this thing.
Okay.
Seeing as he's not the focus of it right now.
Sure. So give me maybe another move silently check here.
Yeah.
So
okay.
you remember how I was saying this thing's player facing? So if you make your move silently check, I don't roll hearing. That means you move silently. Yeah, which you do. So go ahead and move.
He can move about. If he just moves, he moves like
40 yards.
So something like
you can maybe hide behind those, like either over here or even around these cacti if he wants to,
Yeah, this might be close enough.
Sure. He's sneaking his way
well,
out
he's
there.
trying to get. He's actually trying to get behind the thing. So.
Sure. So the. I guess shoot. This means a warbot's up next. All right. So it does its fighting withdraw. So there's no attacks on it, but it moves its move. What is its move? It's really not a lot fast. It only moves 30 yards away. And then it is Calvin's turn.
Right,
Cal, what are you doing?
He's going to keep closing on this thing.
Okay.
And fire his
Cool.
Bam. Oh.
Ah, shoot. Those wild, some of the sand is turned into glass. Kel, what are you doing?
Scorching Ray.
Ooh, this is going to be tough on this thing. All right, here it goes.
Where is it? There it goes. All right.
Oh, come on.
I use one of those points.
Take one, sure. You got reroll. So you got 3 fate points.
Yeah.
Oh, holy shit. Okay, so you have nearly fucking destroyed this thing. It is so close to being destroyed.
I still got 2 more.
Ooh. Here it comes. So you hit it, and it's just like your first blast. It scours the inside, and you can see there's gobs of molten metal that's falling out from inside this thing. It's burning on the inside and kind of like wavering in the air. Come on.
Second one missed.
It went off. Oh! This thing explodes into, it sort of like spins around and hits the ground and is utterly destroyed. Wow.
Nice.
Whoa, ho, 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 ho. Guys, this is pretty cool. I'm seeing what the treasure is for this thing. And it is saying...
I was going to tell Cal to go to the 2 drones and this robot and see if he can't salvage some parts.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was just we were attacked before we could salvage the first one.
Let's see here. I'm just reading. Visitor robot. Oh, very cool. Okay, so it's actually they carry special treasure. Let me see here what you guys can loot from here. One of them, there's actually something really neat inside those that warbot. Hold on, I gotta find the chart here. This is where, again, when I get the print version, it's going to be awesome. So I don't have to look through the rule book. I know some people enjoy looking through the PDFs more because it's you can do, quick find result. And if I did that, I would probably find it much faster. But I like paging through shit too much. So I guess I'm not complaining at all, or I'm complaining for no fucking reason, because I could very easily make use of this. I'm choosing not to. Anyway, good story, yeah? Oh, here we go. Wow, okay. So you downed 3 robots, and one of those gives doubles. First off, I want Cal to give me a technology check, please.
The tech check.
Yeah. These will be big rolls because you've wasted all your small ones.
Good call.
I've been up and down all day.
Awesome. Okay. So here's what I'm going to get you guys to do. I'll get first. Cal, you roll 1d6 for me. You want to roll high.
Roll high.
Yeah. So you can put your juju. Oh, yes. Nice. Now, James, I need you to roll a d6 for me, and you want to roll low.
Oh.
Beautiful. Okay, so
that's hilarious.
What I was getting to find out there, guys, is a warbot is actually equipped with bombs. It has a freshly supplied warbot has 6 bombs in it. And this thing was specifically designed for perimeter offense, so I assumed it had the first. However, I assume some of them were damaged in the combat. What you rolled is that there were 6 on board, and only 1 of them was damaged. That means you guys can salvage 5 bombs out of this thing. The bombs do 6d6 points of damage to targets within 15 points, and they can save versus blast to half the damage. So, you don't have the means of deploying those things, but basically you've got 5 bombs, and I'll figure out what the encumbrance of those things are, and the value of those things are afterwards. And let's offload some of the fun rolling to you guys. So for your, let's see here, for the first robot, let's go back and forth. So Jeff, would you kindly roll 1d10 for me, please?
Well, D10.
Yeah. James, actually, you roll a d10 as well. Yeah, these are from the scout robots.
Oh.
The scout robots had. Okay, a 1 and an 8. Okay, so Jeff, what you find on one of the scout robots, whoops, is that your DM can't fucking roll dice properly. You found 3 more spare parts, so it's enough to salvage from that thing. James, you rolled an 8. That means, oh, you'll be happy with this. You found 12 more energy crystals.
Oh, sick.
Okay. Then, let's see here. You, each of you roll another d10 for me, because this is off of the, whatchamacallit, the warbot. You can salvage from this thing. An 8 and a 6. Well, an 8 is another 3d6 energy crystals.
No, a 6 and a 4.
Oh, 6 and a 4.
Yeah.
3 median. Okay, so 6 is, ooh, interesting. And a 4. Oh, wrong fucking thing. 4 and a 6. Okay. So, Jeff, you roll a 4. That is another 8 energy crystals. And a 4. So that was the 4. And then a 6. Ooh, interesting. Let's see what this is.
Magic wand.
Yeah.
Ooh, magic staff.
Are you writing down the number of spare parts and energy crystals, James?
Yeah.
2. So you recovered 2 stimulants. Let me tell you what those do. Actually, Jeff, give me a technology roll again. Let's see if you can figure out what these things do while I look up what they do.
All right. Come on, big tech. Oh,
So close.
I'm not sure what they do.
Not sure. So just write down 2 stimulants. And we'll figure out what you're going to do. Because now basically what you're going to do is fall back on like researching them, because there's other ways to figure out how to use these things. Oh, you know what? I think here's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to use the rules for field experimentation. You don't automatically know what this is, so you spend 10 minutes looking this thing over and trying to figure it out, and seeing what can move and whatnot. I'm going to roll and see if there's a mishap with it, but because of your ability, you only mishap on a 1. I did not roll a 1. So what these stimulants do, because this is a fairly simple thing, and it's syringes. What stimulants do is, if injected, they will allow the character to function without sleep for up to 72 hours with no penalty. Once the effect wears off, however, the character will become excessively sleepy. After 1d3 turns, the character will fall into a deep sleep, which he cannot be awakened for 1d6 plus 6 hours. So, you're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, effectively, in sleep. Okay, so the path appears to be now clear to get into the saucer, but we're about 19 minutes off from calling it a night. So why don't we do this? Why don't we calculate some XP and award some XP?
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good? So
Yeah,
in this
I'm pretty
game,
tired tonight, so.
oh sure. So in this game, there are you get XP from killing stuff, but what you get more XP, substantially more XP from, is from treasure. if you get, you don't have to spend it. If you get treasure back to town, like if you get gold or goods or whatever, and they have a really interesting list of shit, or these things. If you sell these things rather than keeping them, you get XP for that in addition to getting money.
Oh,
So
cool.
if you get such, and generally it's about 4 to 1 in terms of the ratio of by getting shit back to town, you get 4 times more of your XP is going to come from that than just from killing stuff.
So there's a town on this planet.
This
Dun, dun,
is
dun.
this is Chip Chirp and what's his name, Ookla's home. Remember, they said that the visitors have bedeviled them for quite a while, right? Like they're people for quite some time. And let's keep chapping here. Let me. You guys killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 visitors. Okay, so 6 visitors times 13, and you guys killed 2 scout drones, and you killed a warbot, which is really fucking impressive. So, let me calculate what this is. How old school is this? We're ending the session, guys, and we're going to do some math to figure out what your XP is.
That is old school.
Okay. Now the way, I'm going to quickly look up how henchmen work here. Now, here's something to consider, guys. Kel has blown through a ton of his spells right now. And, you know,
About half.
And Ookla took some damage. So what you might want to consider is taking a break, like saying, you know what, we got the escape pod right there. We'll keep an eye out for a little bit and see if there's any, you know, any further visitors or warbots that come out. But if not, we'll sleep through and then hopefully we can find, because you haven't gone a full day without water yet. If you can get into the vessel, that will just put the imperative to get into the ship and find some water and find some food fairly quickly. And you're pretty confident you can get in there. Now let me quickly go to the XP. Right. One other really badass thing here, guys, is because both of you have a prime requisite that is higher than the mandatory, you guys each get plus 10% XP. Because your intelligence and I think strength is yours, Jeff, are both higher or very high.
Nice.
Okay, here. So total calculated added to XP total from treasure, the sum of the XP. Oh, your treasure, right. We haven't got it back to town yet. So this is going to seem low, but it will not account for the value of the stuff that you picked up.
Right.
Okay, so henchmen get 1/2 share of the XP. So basically, I'm going to divide the total XP by 3, and then Ookla and Chip Chirp will get half of each. So let's see here. That's 3. Okay. So each of you gets. Hold on, I got to add your 10% bonus too. Each of you gets 221 XP. So you can add that on your character sheet on Roll20 if you like, or in elsewhere. Your actual written character sheet tells you what you need to get to the next level. But I will tell you that that does not include any of the XP. So you can figure that the loot XP that you got for the treasure and whatnot is going to be 4 times that. So it's about, it's really about 1,000 XP is what you would have earned for tonight.
Still got a long way to go.
Still a long way to go. But you guys are also, if you were a lower level, that would be, that'd be a huge step towards. Now, let's see here. So you got your stuff. Does that sound like a plan, guys? You're going to rest up and then hit the saucer fresh tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where we will end the session. So guys, let's talk about what we actually played tonight. That sound interesting?
Sure.
Yeah,
So what we played
absolutely.
is this is a game called Adventure Conqueror King. And it's designed by a guy named Alex Macris and published by a company called Autarch. And what this game is basically an attempt to recreate, it's part of the old school Renaissance movement of games. It's considered a second generation one of those, and it's called a retro clone. And the reason it's called that is because it's not just an attempt to try and create like, hey, here's how we played D&D in like anywhere from 1977 to like 1985, right? What it tries to do is it takes that as a starting point and then says, okay, well, if we apply some modern design standards to the way they played then, what kind of game would we develop? And that's what this one is. It's kind of like a side step or a side evolution away from like AD&D second edition and third and whatever. It adopts certain things from later editions, like it adopts expressly the tier advanced system from what do you call it? Fourth edition. So Adventure, Conqueror, King. And what the game has is extremely well-written rules for domain level play, for running kingdoms, for running small organizations, for running mass battles. As you level up, it's just like you don't have to necessarily do that, but the game is designed so you can go through that epic cycle of being the kind of like Conan, where he was a penniless thief and he became king of Aquilonia. You can become a ruler of a wizard tower, or wizards can build a dungeon. And then what you can do as well is if you do play characters through that full cycle, you can choose to play like henchmen at lower tiers. So you can switch back and forth between playing the king, the conqueror, and the adventurer. There's also
cool.
Yeah, it's level capped at 14 for the highest level thing. So the whole game happens in that range band. So it's very much like fourth edition, like Shadow of the Demon Lord in that sense. So that it's got like there is a manageable scale of play. You're not playing through to level 36 or level 20 or whatever, and your character changes substantially as you go along. You guys, like one thing that isn't on your character sheet because it wasn't going to come up tonight, but because Calvalos is 5th level, he can do things like make potions. He can research spells. And the system has a full spell creation system. You can take any other product and decide like, okay, I want to make a whatever spell, and you can figure out what it would cost, what school it would go into, who it's available to, and stuff like that. 7th, 8th, and 9th level spells are rituals. You have to learn those through spell research, and then they're a big event. So like casting Wish is a big fucking deal in this game. And the mini game associated with the domain level play, I haven't read them through extensively, but one of the things I've heard is that it's an extremely fun and story driving kind of play. The proficiency system is expressly listed as optional because there's some people in the OSR movement who don't like that kind of stuff. But for guys like us who play a lot of modern versions of D&D, I love that. I love that there's this sort of way to further customize your characters. And like I built these guys for you, but like you could do things like if you want your character to have lay on hands because you think he's got some kind of divine connection, you can do that. Or if you want to be real stealthy or whatever. There's lots of very, very cool ways you can tweak these things. The biggest fucking cool thing about this particular game is, so this is just like basic D&D, where classes, like races are classes, so like you don't pick a race and then pick a class and then make your character. You pick your class. But in the default rules, there are multiple versions of those things. So there is a dwarven cleric type character. There's a dwarven fighter type character. There's a dwarven thief type character. There's a neat dwarven mechanic type character. And so on. Same thing for the elves, same thing for the halflings or whatnot. And there is a full set of custom class rules. So if you want to build if none of what you see you like, you can custom build a class. That tells you what XP you need to go up for each level. And there are certain parameters you have to build that within, but it's crazy fucking cool. Like one of the things I did to test out that system, James, is I built Ember. I was like, well, what would Ember look like as a thing? Is that she's not human, so she needs to have some inhuman abilities and whatever else, and that's how you do that. You can just build the character. So those are all the things that I really like. Like, I mean, I love I mentioned the economy being consistent with the spells and whatever else. The reason that's important is because the game plays through to 14th level, right, or to lower. Like if you're playing one of the more powerful classes, you don't advance as far. You don't keep going in levels. You'll cap out at 10 or 12. But what it means is that you can just let the game play the way it plays. You can randomly generate shit. Pretty much everything I made up either on the fly or, I was referring to very minor stats. So it's really, really easy to do that kind of. Like, I wasn't sure whether you guys were going to go exploring elsewhere or stay in the saucer or whatever. But it was so easy to have all those things ready to go because it doesn't require a lot of prep. The combats move very quickly, but I think they're very interesting and there's lots of options you can do. In particular, like it makes the fighters and the fighter type classes feel so much more useful with Cleave.
Oh
Right,
yeah, it's dangerous.
This is very cool.
Yeah. So, and then what we were playing is Barbarian Conquerors of Kanahu. And this is one of their most recent supplements. And basically, I was telling Brent, like, this is sort of like, gosh, what did I tell him? It was, one thing I said this to Jeff before I went on. It's like, if someone decided to take a Venn diagram of like all of my favorite stuff, all the favorite stuff that I love having in role-playing games, this fucking setting hits it all. Because it's got, like barbarians, and it's got fucking robots, and it's got sorcery, and it's got like a very strong Dark Sun flavor to it. Yeah, part John Carter, part Dark Sun, part Thundar the Barbarian, part He-Man, part Conan, part Lovecraft, all in one delicious Swords and Planet pulpy meal. So it's, and I love the idea of being able to pick the things out. The character class you were playing, Jeff, is one of the character classes out of Barbarian Conquerors.
Nice.
It's this time loss thing. And actually, apart from the mage, everybody else is one of those too. Ookla, I don't know if you guys remember Thundar the Barbarian or if you watched it, but there was a character called Ookla the Mok in it. And that's what what you got in there. And the Mog is actually a character class in it. It's a class that's in the Barbarian Conquerors thing. And it blew my mind that someone would think to make an Ookla the Mok character class you could play.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just super, super cool. And I really kind of gimped your ability to use Chip Chirp there, Jeff, because I didn't send you all the lists of spells he had access to. But I will do that if we play this again, because divine casters are very, they're very, very flexible. They're not as flexible as in like Pathfinder or in 4th edition, where like they're able to fight all the time and also use spells necessarily. Like they're not using spells all the time to fight plus using spells to heal. They do have to make judicious use of it, but the flexibility they have is pretty cool. And
it worked pretty good. He would have been more versatile with his spells, but I think we just happened to finish off the enemy before he could get his backstab in there.
Yeah, and once he, yeah, like once if we play again, I'll fill out all the full character sheets for each of these guys, both in Roll20 and otherwise. But yeah, so what did you guys think? Anyway, this is first, again, it was a surprise for both of you guys. What did you guys think of this version of D&D?
I was okay with it. I was just still trying to wrap my head around playing a magical character in a high tech setting.
Yeah.
Because my character really has no idea what's going on.
No, and that's part.
I think that's kind of fun.
Like it's one thing to introduce like players to this kind of setting and going through it, because there's so many weird things about it that I think are really awesome. But I thought, well, the most fun way to do it is to learn, like, experience it in play. Play through the experience of like, oh, there's gecko men, and oh, there's mogs, and there's robots. So that was an intentional thing. I didn't want to like have a conversation about the setting and whatever else. I wanted to throw you guys in and do that kind of like Flash Gordon thing where you're pulled from another world and you suddenly find yourself trying to make sense of the world you're in, you know?
I like that.
Yep.
I thought you would, Jeff. When I read the Terran Cosmonaut, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Jeff's gonna love this character.
But I also like, you know, just exploring the world as you go, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's almost like D&D would almost be more fun that way. Like if you,
Didn't know anything?
yeah, didn't know anything, you know, like didn't even know all the character classes. Like if there was a way to like, you know, pick your character and not even know, like I'm a fighter, but I didn't even know there was magic in the world. And then all of a sudden you meet the other player character and he's a wizard, and you know, just be very cool that way.
Yeah, and that's something that is very, very much something they push in the OSR kind of movement, is that capturing that sort of like it's not just playing like, oh, the old lethal kind of rules and whatever else. It's capturing the way that like why people used to play these games, like before the game was refined into 3rd edition Pathfinder. You know, these games where everyone sort of knows what's going on in the games, and then you play through stories where it was a matter of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what's happened here? What's, you know, what are these things? What do they do? And you know, having to like with random encounters, you know, sometimes you're outclassed by what you're fighting, right? And you're just like, fuck, we need to retreat. We need to get out of here. And one of the things you guys have henchmen is a sort of way for the DM to telegraph that shit, right? Like if a henchman goes down, you guys can be like, whoa, what the fuck? You're also able to hire henchmen too. Like you guys, there's some pretty cool rules that again work with the economy of it, where you go to you know, depending on the size of the town, there's a different amount of henchmen that are available for hiring, and then your charisma is a really important stat, because how they react to your sort of sales pitch is partly determined by your charisma check. So like charisma really can't be a dump stat in this, because unless you're trying to rely on other people to hire people, and you can't have more henchmen than you do. I think it's like 3+ your charisma stat. So like if you're fighting something like, you know, a dragon, you might want to hire a bunch of fucking people to help with that shit. Because if you the game doesn't assume that you're, you know, just because you're the heroes, you're gonna be able to take it on. You need to make smart use of, you know, of numbers or tactics to try and take these things down.
Right.
That's I like too. So I think that makes the game more immersive, I think, too. So you're thinking beyond the protective bubble of your precious characters, right?
I definitely like the idea of henchmen and using them like as a game mechanic, essentially.
Yeah. Well, and because the game is relatively simple too,
And lethal.
it's easier. Yeah, it's easy to have a bunch of henchmen. You know, it's easy for you guys to track. You know, like if you guys had, say, 3 other level 1 or level 0 henchmen with you, it's easy to track those guys, because like they don't really have a lot of options to do. They don't have a lot of hit points either, so they may not be around all that long. And their you know, their actions are pretty easy to get through their round. You're generally going to make an attack roll and maybe a cleave if they take somebody down. And then, so the added thing is it gives you the chance to play more, you know, of a tactical kind of role. And if you abuse them, they make morale checks and they may say, well, fuck off, I'm not working for you anymore. This is bullshit.
Right.
But you also might, it's a more meaningful way to get that connection to an NPC. And then you might want to see that NPC, you know, succeed.
Right, and especially because, like you said, if your main character dies, you may be picking up one of your NPCs becoming your new main character.
Yeah, yeah, which is pretty, I think, pretty cool. Like it's a way of, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like literally having your plan B character there, and then if you choose to make your own character, you're free to do that. You know, and they give you a way in the game to basically, what it is you basically, if you spend, you can spend certain money, like when you get back to town, some of your money can be spent on like a XP bank. And what that does is it buys you XP for a character. It's like XP insurance. Your next character, whatever money you spent on it, that's how much XP you start with. So if you choose not to go with your henchman, you can choose to use one of those guys. But anyway, it just, you know, it's such a different way of playing it, like setting aside the setting, which I just fucking love. Like, it's everything I love about Iron Gods turned up to 11. You know, with fucking, like, being able to put you guys on flying saucers and using, you know, aliens and robots and all this crazy shit.
Yeah,
And the random
absolutely.
loot that was pretty fucking cool, eh?
I like
Yeah.
random loot.
Yeah.
Yeah, random loot's nice.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's something that going back to you said like a year ago, Jeff, that you what do you call it? Like you liked playing through. You liked the like sort of weird imbalance that came from older versions of D&D, where you're like, holy fuck, how did I find a +3 Holy Avenger sword here?
Right, like all of a sudden you can just have something that like goes on to define your character even.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't even gonna, you know, I've been a plasma gun shooter, you know, like let's say I'm continuing to play Space Man Spith there, and all of a sudden you, like you said, you find some like crazy Vorpal sword or something, and it's like, well, maybe I'll become a melee fighter.
The neat thing too is like you're getting a shit ton, or it seems like you're getting a shit ton of energy crystals right now too, but you really only get those from visitors. So if you guys like are, you know, off exploring a forgotten lizard man temple, or you're just wandering the desert, or you're, you know, trying to build up a business or a thieves guild or whatever in a town, you're probably not going to be exposed to those guys, which means that's going to become a depleted resource, which gives you the incentive to go on an adventure.
Yeah. Well, we have 29 extra energy crystals, and at 20 charges a pop,
That's a lot of shots you can
a
get
lot of
off.
shots we have.
How many shots did you guys use
But
up
my
today?
suit also uses them. I think
I've only used 2.
I think I used 7 shots.
Okay. So yeah, I mean that's, and I love that. Like that's, I want it. Yeah, I'm surprised how much great shit you got from those things. I didn't realize that the robots drop so much good stuff.
Well, it makes sense. I mean,
yeah. Well, and that ship is pretty, like they divide the loot tables between like individual monsters and hordes, and then it also is calculated by like if there are if they're like collectors, if they're like a bandit who's robbing people and collecting shit, it's a different set of gear you'll get. If it's someone who's like incidental, like it's a monster that eats people that come by, and it'll just be whatever drops and stays there. That's a different type of loot table. So there's a neat logic behind why the different loot tables are and different treasure tables you've got. And I imagine that's the same in like Pathfinder and other versions of D&D too. I just didn't realize that was what that reason was. And I'm loving these, what do you call it? The loot tables for the, what do you call it? For the visitors. Like, I can't wait to see what you guys find inside this mini dungeon now that's fallen flying saucer. Oh, man.
All right, guys. It's getting late. I
Yeah,
gotta
so
go.
let's here. Let me just
Yeah,
end
I'm
the
gonna get
broadcast here, and we'll going off. So, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for this surprise session of Adventure Conqueror King playing in the Barbarian Conquerors of Kanahu setting. Thank you as well to my players for again indulging in a flight of fancy for me. I really, really was looking forward to running this. I had so much fun, so I hope you guys did too. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, please don't hesitate to drop me a line, and I will endeavor to answer those in a timely fashion. Otherwise, thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you again Wednesday, I guess, for more champions. So thanks, and see ya.